All right, we got Bostic. Yeah, we got a court reporter.
Yes, Judge, good afternoon or good evening.
All right, how are you doing? All right, so let's do it from here. All right, everybody, this is your prelims. Everybody, let's see, they'll start putting everybody in the booth, but we'll go ahead and take Cobb first, then ACDC. Since the LT has given us a rotation, we'll go by that. So let's see. And Cobb, I know you guys are going to have a hard time waving your hand, but just let me know if this is you, okay? I got Anthony Cantu Davila. All right, ready, Ms. Gowdy? Evening. All right, Bostic, it's position 5 on one of the add-on calendars, I think.
Judge, you remember ACDC needed to go first. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, ACDC first. Sorry.
Yes, she had some. Yes, she needed to go first and then Cobb. Sorry.
All right. No, my bad. All right. ACDC. Sorry. Stand by, Miss Gowdy. All right. Who's up there? Is that Roberts or is Hunter? You Roberts? Roberts. All right. Ms. Bray, you ready?
I'm ready, Your Honor.
All right. 2 cases. 22 CP 213188 Lindsay Roberts, 103 days without indictment. Possession of Schedule 3 controlled substance. Possession of Schedule 3 controlled substance. Possession of Schedule 4 controlled substance. Drugs not on original container ×2 and possession of drug-related objects. There is 103 days without indictment. There is a $10,500 good bond as of October the 14th. 103 days out of indictment, 22 CP 213189, entering an auto with the intent to commit a theft or a felony. $7,500 good bond as of 10/14. Pre-trial.
7 prior arrests, does not appear to have any felony convictions, 2 misdemeanor, 1 being disorderly conduct. 2 other open cases, 21 CP 178035, Schedule 3 drug-related objects. And then 21 CP 195589. I didn't write down what the charge was. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Okay, Your Honor, with regards to Ms. Roberts, I want Your Honor to know that we do have an acceptance letter from PAD for her. They have a bed space for her and they are ready for her. She is wanting to address her issue. Ms. Roberts, when did this come in? Your Honor, Ms. Roberts is 24 years old now. Her mother and father all live here. She has 1 brother. The address pretrial has would be the correct address if she were out and not in the program. But I really want her to receive a UJR to the program, Your Honor, based on the amount of time she's been in, the inability for her to pay the amount of bond that she's had. And we've now found a program. They have space for her. So I'm asking for a UJR on both cases to the PAD program. And I do have the acceptance letter that I can send to the DA. I don't know which DA it is.
All right, and that's going to be in Fulton County, correct? Where she'll be staying?
Yes.
All right. What says the state?
Who's the state?
Yes, Your Honor. This is Adia Wiggins for the state on this matter.
Okay, go ahead.
The state believes that the current bond as set is both fair and reasonable given the facts of the case as well as her history. I understand that she does not have any felony convictions. However, she does have a prior drug offense that was revoked under conditional discharge, as well as a bond forfeiture. That was actually a conviction for that bond forfeiture. In addition to the pending cases that she does have, not only these 2, but as Your Honor has heard, she does have those other pending cases. The state is concerned that she is a likelihood to reoffend, as well as a flight risk given those prior offenses. I understand the desire to have her go into the program, and I do recognize that she has been without indictment for over 100 days. But again, it is not as though she does not have a bond. It is one that she cannot make. State is also concerned, given the allegations of 22 CP 213189 being that she was essentially caught while committing that theft. If the court finds that it does wish to reduce the bond, the state would ask that it be reduced to a reasonable amount considering the facts, but not necessarily a UJR. But I will leave that up to the court.
All right, so what I'll do, Ms. Braze, I'll do the whole thing I do where I give her a bond amount and then a UJR as long as the program's going to pick her up.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so on the one ending in 3188, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for a court, lawyer, medical, and any participation in the PAD program. So $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $250, $250, and $250. On position 2 ending in 3189, we'll go down to a $3,000 good bond. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Catherine Rafferty, Rafferty. Stay away from 1030 Cicero Drive in Alpharetta. Ankle monitor is going to be paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and participation in the PAD program. If that, oh, and on both of these, Ms. Young, if they allow her to work, then she'll have to supply proof of employment, name of her employer, and a schedule. She'll have to supply that to the ankle monitoring company and to Miss Bray. Best of luck to you, ma'am. All right,
Your Honor,
yes.
so she's getting a good bond. We're not gonna,
We didn't do a UJR to PAD if they come get her. So give her both options.
okay, because remember, I don't think this is one of the bond orders I do if she go into pad. Ms. Bray got it. Ms.
Right.
Bray-
Well, you could put or PAD, and then if she gets into it and she has to accept us, Miss Bray can send the letter with the name of the
Okay.
people and all
Okay.
that.
So UJR jail to pad.
PAD
Or,
only, yeah.
okay,
And then Miss Bray can send the thing, the order that says who's picking her up, et cetera.
okay, thank
All right,
you.
Mr. Cho, we got Benita Hunter, position 22 CP 209285, 247 days without indictment, criminal trespass, obstruction of a law enforcement officer by use of threats and or violence, and obstruction of a law enforcement officer. There is a $6,000 good bond as of September the 13th, pre-trial.
Hunter, multi-state offender, 15 in Georgia, 1 in New York, 1 in Pennsylvania. Prior drug convictions in New York, that's old, 2016, old,
You muted yourself, Bostic. I promise I didn't do it.
16 in cocaine in Georgia. Couple of FTAs, 4 convictions for misdemeanors, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cho.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before you is Ms. Hunter. Judge, she's 49, she's a high school graduate. Was visiting Georgia, has residence in Macon. Judge, this came in as 3 misdemeanors, and it has been 247 days as of today, it appears. Miss Hunter's ardent hope and at her request, I'm relaying this to the court, is she is asking the court for some mercy and the ability to move on with her life, in essence, Your Honor. Ms. Hunter does have a payee. She does receive benefits from the government, is the best way to put it. We have referred her to several programs previously. And at this point, we haven't been able to get her into any kind of program. Judge, we're just on a rock and a hard place. What Ms. Hunter wanted the court to know is that she was at the Greyhound station. She was on her way home to Macon. She was waiting for the bus. Police came, and that's where this incident occurred. Understand that there was, it appears to be an alleged battery against one of the police officers, which is why it was upgraded from battery to felony obstruction. But Judge, beyond that, this is not a situation where I think 247 days is warranted. 1505 Clinton Road in Macon, Georgia, is an address that we have. I have tried to reach out to the payee as well. No result as of yet. But Judge, we are asking the court to the defense is stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and that's not the court's fault at all. And I'm not trying to pressure the court in any kind of way, obviously. The bond is the amount it's at. We acknowledge that. At this point, we just, I think, need some kind of action moving forward. It is Ms. Hunter's ardent wish that she be replaced. That is the basis for why I'm relaying that to the court. But obviously, we defer to the court's wisdom and judgment. Nothing further.
Sure. What says the state?
Good evening, Your Honor. 88 Burke for the state. The state's aware or noted that Ms. Hunter does possibly have some mental health issues. It looks like she had a jail incident that took place in June 2022, where she was moved from general population after a mental health evaluation was conducted. The state's main concern is that she's a multi-state and multi-jurisdictional offender. So without a stable place for her to go, state fears that she's going to end up back where she is anyway, in another county or worse. So at this point, I understand Mr. Cho's concerns as to what to do with her. It sounds like she needs to go to a program. But without one, the state's not willing to just release her, given her history. So the state would just say that the current bonds to remain the same. If the program comes up, then the defense should contact the state as soon as they have information on that, so that something can be worked out for her. Nothing further for the state.
All right. Here's what I'll do. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 235 Peachtree Street, the Martyr Garnett Station, and all Martyr properties. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, medical, attorney visits, and any sort of treatment, mental health treatment, or employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer. Proof of employment, the schedule, and exact location you'll be working. Ma'am, you'll have to let the ankle monitoring company know, and Mr. Cho. I understand you're on some sort of disability and you have a payee, but in case wink, wink, nod, nod, you do something on the side. Also, you're going to go back and live in Macon, so you stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Don't stop for gas in Fulton County. Don't stop and get lunch or anything, Miss Hunter. I'll do $250 on the criminal trespass, $3,000 on the obstruction, and $250 on the second obstruction. So that's $3,500 total. Best of luck to you, ma'am. Thank you, ACDC.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Judge, can we do Marriott Annex? Keith Reed.
Second.
Which position is that?
8.
Thank you.
All right. 22 CP 213178. Kenneth Reed, 103 days without indictment. Theft by receiving stolen property. Theft by shoplifting misdemeanor. Driving with suspended or revoked license. There is a $25,000 good bond as of October the 15th. Pre-trial.
Very extensive arrest history, 69 prior arrests in Georgia, 1 in Alabama, 29 in North Carolina. Oh, a lot of convictions. Theft by receiving, burglary, controlled substance, tools, firing by convicted felon, aggravated assault, cocaine. In North Carolina, we got possession with intent, Schedule 1, Schedule 2, theft by receiving, stolen vehicle, possession with intent, 3 FTAs, got at least 5 arrests for probation violation. No, it's 69 total. Take that back. Not as bad. It's 39 in Georgia, 29 in North Carolina, 1 in Alabama. It's 69 total.
All right.
Nothing further. And Judge, you're blurry right now.
Put my blurry, this camera. All right. Better.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Bray. Ms. Bray? Ms. Bray?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I didn't hear y'all call my name.
That's all right. This is yours.
Wait, I'm sorry. Which one? I'm so sorry.
Kenneth Reed.
He is another one that has been accepted into a program, and we have a release date or a date that they can pick him up, which is January 31st. I do have the acceptance letter. I just need to know which DA to send it to. Hold 1 second. Let me,
Which program is that?
Trinity House,
Okay.
and we have the acceptance letter. I just need to, hold on. I got so many people on tonight's calendar. Woo,
Exactly.
I just,
Ms.
And I
Bray,
yes.
you can send it to me.
Who said that?
I'm sorry, ADA Burke.
Oh, Miss Burke. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold
You can send
on.
it to me. Did you say it was Trinity House?
It's Trinity House, and I know I have the file. I just picked it up. Now I'm like, where in the world did I put it?
Are you able to tell me how long he'll be there?
I guess as long as he would need to be there, but he would be there a while, I know, because there's no other housing option for him. That would be his housing option. It also includes therapy, counseling, and they assist with getting jobs, the whole 9. And I do have the acceptance letter saved on my computer. So just hold on, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
You said Burke, right?
Yes.
Should be a copy in his docket if you look, ADA Burke.
I'm looking to see what I find for him.
Why can't I find the file? Jesus.
Ms. Gowdy, while she's looking, does Mr. Cantu Davila need the interpreter?
He does not, Your Honor. Additionally, the case that's on the calendar is not holding him in custody.
Well, I understand that. So he has made that bond, right?
Correct. Mhm.
So nothing we need to do with this one.
Correct. There hasn't been a bond surrender from what I'm able to see on Odyssey, Your Honor.
Yeah, I don't see one either. Let's see, Mr. Cantu Davila. Yeah, so your other case that needs to be assigned to C3 public defender is the one that's holding you up because Lucretia Doyle has already posted your bond on this one, okay? So you could leave the booth, and they put out fillers yesterday to find out who the C3 public defender was for you, okay? All right, you can go ahead and leave the booth, sir.
If I may, Your Honor.
Uh-huh.
Ms. Bray, did you say that they would be able to pick him up?
Yes, they will pick him up and they can do it on January 31st.
Okay, Your Honor, given Mr. Reed's, well, actually, did you want me to proceed or Ms. Bray with arguments?
Sure, go ahead.
Given Mr. Reed's criminal history, the state doesn't have objections to having him transported to Trinity when that date happens. I guess if Trinity would just report if he is not compliant, that would be, it seems like that's the best approach for him because his history screams he needs help.
And Ms. Burke, I just sent the email to you. It also includes the acceptance letter for Kenneth Reed and Lindsay Roberts, just so somebody in your office will have the acceptance letter. Although I gave the acceptance letters to ADA Pennington in your office when these cases were set for prelim this past week.
All right, so y'all want me to put numbers on it and then UJR to Trinity House only?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so here's what we'll do. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3500 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. No further contact with Alexis, last name SIVCO UKH. No driving unless you have valid driver's license, insurance, and registration. Stay away from all Family Dollar stores. Gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical, and finding any treatment that you get at Trinity House. And that'll be paid for by the county. So I'll do 10,000, 2,000, and 2,000. And then UJ order Trinity House only. And Miss Young, she'll write up whatever order it needs to be once she figures out who's picking them up at Trinity House.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Reed. You can leave the booth.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Spanish interpreter is present.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Chavez. Let's see. Let me get through these at Cobb. Danny Duo. All right. Ms. Safarasi, you here?
Yes,
There we are. All right, it's number one, 22 CP 205-879, 374 days without indictment. There's a $16,500 good bond as of October the 24th. You got possession of Schedule 1 controlled substance, possession of Schedule controlled substance, and Schedule 2 with the intent to distribute, possession of drug-related objects, giving false name, address, date of birth to the law enforcement officer. Pre-trial.
3 arrests, no felony convictions, open case, Cobb, trafficking in meth with the intent, Schedule 2 substance, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Sarfarazzi. Where's he planning on living?
Yes, Your Honor. We have an address at 1380 Elm Creek Lane. That's in Norcross, Georgia.
Okay.
And just some background about my client. He's been in custody, like you said, 374 days. He does have that hold out in Cobb County, so we cannot apply for the bail project, and of course his amount is too high. Your Honor, his current he's had his prelim in October.
2 North, booth 5, sit down. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Stay in your seat. Sorry, Ms. Safarasi. Go ahead.
No problem. So, Your Honor, he had his prelim back in October of 2020.
Hold on, 5 North, booth 3. You sit down too. All right, gentlemen, if you get up and you leave the booth, your case is going to be continued. You come back in a couple of days. Go ahead, Ms. Safarasi.
Yes, Your Honor. And Your Honor, before his preliminary hearing, you actually you would reduce his bond to $8,500 in August. And then at his preliminary hearing, we got a charge drop, but his bond was increased by Judge Drake to the $16,500. Your Honor, my client, he doesn't have any family in Georgia. His family is in California. And he has been in Georgia 5 years, though. He's been in custody a long time, so he does not have...
Please open up 500 for mental health.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry, somebody was off mute.
Yes, Your Honor. So he's been incarcerated for a long time, so he doesn't have his job. But before he got incarcerated, he was working at a nail salon, Your Honor. We are going to ask if you reduce his bond today. I would ask for a 5,000 number. It just gives a more practical number to work with. He has been he's been in custody for a long time, and this is a case where the state could accuse it, or they could decline to prosecute, whichever one they see fit. So we would ask for a major reduction at $5,000.
All right. What says the state?
Given that he has an open trafficking case, Your Honor, in Cobb County, that was, it was in 2021, so I guess 2 years ago now. And GBI lab results did find that it was positive for meth when they executed the search warrant. The state wouldn't agree to a $5,000 bond. At this time, we'll leave the number to the discretion of the court. I will say, though, that the possession and use of drug-related objects in this matter has no bond. It's at no bond status. So that would need a bond. But
which one has no bond?
From what I could tell, unless I'm seeing something incorrect, it looks like possession and use of drug-related tools.
It should be UJR.
Yeah, that's a UJR
order.
Okay. That's a UJR.
My end, it was showing no bond. But nonetheless, the state wouldn't consent to a $5,000 bond. If the court finds a reduction is appropriate, then leave it up to the court for that one, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may, because he's been in custody so long, he cannot address the Cobb case. He cannot leave the custody of Fulton County, and Fulton County is not moving his case. So he's just sitting in Fulton County Jail. He can't post any bond. He can't address his hold. He can't do bail project. I mean, and they won't even accuse it to move his case forward so where he can start getting his constitutional rights of going to trial and dealing with that process. So, Your Honor, we'd just like you to take that into consideration before you're ruling.
Question, Your Honor, if I may. Given that he's outsourcing Cobb, are they not able to see him for his case
I guess
while he's
that's,
in Cobb?
I guess that's up to Cobb County.
Because I mean, in other circumstances, I know that we've had
I guess
either
Ms.
reduction of
Surface,
bonds.
I guess
he
you can
could-
call up there and see if they'll see him.
I mean, because we can't really move him if we wanted to, because I have no control right now as to
Well,
what's
Ms.
going on with the
Surface said
case.
she'd be fine with an accusation.
To be honest, full transparency, I know you guys seen me here before plenty other times, but I'm only covering today. So all I can say is that we can't move him to Cobb if he's already in Cobb to address his Cobb case. But the trafficking matter is of concern.
But it's not Fulton County's concern. It's Cobb
Right,
County's
it's Cobb
concern.
County. I tell you what I'll do though is I will just like I did the other day, I'm gonna send a list of names they've been in close to or over 300 days to Ms. Willis and tell her, why are these people sitting in there? Y'all need to do something with it, because I know that some of them, not blaming anybody, fall off the radar and tend to sit there for a long time, because we have some with 95 days and we have this one with 374. And then we got one coming up with a whole bunch more than that. So I'll send ones there and a list of names, and I'll take care of that for today.
Thank
So,
you, Your Honor.
no
I
drugs.
made a
left.
note
Okay.
of this case for to look into because he's been sitting a very long time. So
All right, no
Stacy-
drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with your co-defendant, Robert King. You must reside at the 1380 Elm Creek Lane in Norcross. Stay out of Fulton County, sir, unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. You're going to have that ankle monitor paid for by the county with a curfew from 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, the schedule, the exact location you'll be working, and proof of employment. If you don't do that and turn it over to the ankle monitor company and to your lawyer so she can supply it to the state, that'd be a violation of your bond. So the controlled substance, Schedule 1,000. Controlled substance, Schedule 2, I'll bump that down to 5,000. And the possession of drug-related objects is UJR jail, and I'll do given false name to law enforcement officer, $1,000. And sir, you'll have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle once you're released from Cobb County. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so now I got Julius Kearney. Wave your hand if you're Julius Kearney.
That case should be declined, Your Honor.
Was it declined? Ms. Bray, was it declined?
Your Honor, we received an email from ADA Faye Rosenbaum addressing a host of cases, and by Julius Kearney, she has on there declined to prosecute.
And that's on this one, right? Because I
On
think,
this case, yes.
okay,
So I don't know.
Your Honor, I'm checking to double check to see if it's already been done. Yes, Your Honor, that case is showing declined.
all right, well, he was there a little bit earlier. I guess they pulled him, so let's decline. Sweet, because he was in there for 705 days. All right, what about Anthony Grant? That should be you, right, sir? Wait, now we got two people in here. Who is Anthony Grant? Who's in the other booth, Marietta? You're on mute, Marietta.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yeah.
Anthony Grant, position 4 on the add-on is showing as declined.
All right, so position 5 is still there, right?
Double checking to make sure.
Sir in Cobb. Who's the other one, deputy up there in Cobb besides
We have
Anthony?
Isaiah
Okay,
in booth 2, and we have Anthony Grant in booth 3.
okay. So the ag assault is declined to prosecute?
Yes, Your Honor. And I'm looking to see for his position 5.
Ms. Gowdy, do you know?
So I didn't receive anything saying that the theft by taking entering auto was declined, but to my understanding, the aggravated assault for Anthony Grant was declined. And then for Mr. Kearney, his entire case was declined. I can forward the email to yourself and 88 Burke right now, Your Honor.
Well, I mean, if you guys said it, I didn't see it when I was prepping my calendar, which I prepped it.
Yeah, I don't think they put it in Odyssey. And when I looked under documents, I don't see that there's been a note inserted by the prosecutor themselves, Your Honor. But that was what was relayed via email, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So hopefully they can just work on that over the course of the week so he can be released.
It's showing on Odyssey, at least on the ADA side, that it was declined for just the aggravated assault. I'm not seeing a decline for the entering auto.
Oh, no, sorry, Miss 88 Burke. I was referencing Mr. Kearney's case.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Kearney's was, all right, 1 second.
That you said that one was declined, right?
That's showing decline as well.
All
on
right,
the-
so Mr. Grant, I think you heard that, right? Your aggravated assault, they did a decline to prosecute. So you're here for the other case, which is position 5, 21 CP 201-980. What is this? 545 days without indictment for theft by taking felony, entering automobile with the intent to commit a felony. 21 CP 201-980. There is a $6,000 good bond as of June the 16th. Pre-trial.
Anthony Grant, multi-state offender, 2 in Georgia, 1 in Ohio, 8 in Texas, 3 in Tennessee, and another state. See these numbers. He has other open cases, 21 CP 201-980 for theft by taking and entering auto.
That's this case, ending in 80.
What these numbers end with? 89?
89 was
There's an 89
declined.
and an 80, Bostic.
89 was
Okay, then he
declined.
has
We're
one that
talking about
ends in
80.
201.
All right, let's go ahead, Ms. Gowdy.
Yes, Your Honor. As Your Honor is aware, Mr. Grant has been in custody for 545 days, Your Honor, without indictment, without any type of procedural movement, Your Honor. These cases both had their prelims back in April of 2022, Your Honor. There's no excuse at this point. Officers were present for both cases. For the entering auto theft by taking, the officers alleged at the prelim there was a video depicting the incident in its entirety, Your Honor. Basically, the video was preserved for later review from the business, Your Honor, and yet no indictment. I think that's pretty as straightforward as it gets as relates to whether or not Mr. Grant is actually involved in the incident that he is accused of at this point, Your Honor. I'm happy to hear the aggravated assault was declined by the state, Your Honor. In that case, it was Mr. Grant allegedly committing an offense against another homeless individual, Your Honor. He doesn't know this person by name, doesn't know their phone number, their address, their email address, anything about this individual. He also maintains his innocence in that case as well, Your Honor. Prior to tonight, the bond for both cases cumulatively was $9,000. It was $3,000 for the aggravated assault and $6,000 for the nonviolent offense, Your Honor. As you can see in his docket, I filed an amended bond order last week reflecting that he's been accepted into Trinity House, Your Honor. And so at this point, we're simply just asking for the court to reduce bond cumulatively such that he can go to the Trinity House program. His bond is $9,000. We're asking for a global bond of $5,000 between both cases. He has a scheduled transport date of January the 31st.
So
hoping that
I
the
just
second
have to-
case can be, also kind of dismissed or declined by then as well. But if not, at a minimum, Your Honor, we're asking for the bond in the case ending in 980 to be reduced to $5,000 or nothing more than $5,000, so that he's able to have that bond paid for by the bail project and finally get out of the Fulton County Jail after being in there for 545 days, Your Honor.
All right, so the bond here is only 6,000.
Yeah, and that's over the amount for the bail project, Your Honor.
All right, what says the state?
I just have a couple clarifying questions, Your Honor. So given that the aggravated assault was declined is it 6,000 for this one?
Yes, 3 and 3.
3 and 3, okay. Ms. Gowdy, do you have an acceptance sheet for the Trinity House for him?
Yeah, it was filed under the amended bond motion as an exhibit.
Okay. Your Honor, can I just take a minute to just take a
Sure.
look at that? Because I didn't see that when I looked. Does he have a transport date or does he need one?
The transport date as of right now would be the 31st. And so as soon as the bond is reduced to something that the Bill Project would accept, we're going to immediately send over a referral to them and give them the acceptance letter as well as a transport order so they can expedite posting his bond.
The state doesn't have objections.
I mean, it'd
For
be easier if he got
$5,000
a
bond.
signature bond to the program, but I understand the Interiata, you can't have a signature bond on the Interiata,
Oh.
or else that would be our request, Your Honor.
Right, $5,000 reduction, Your Honors. Fine with the state, transport order, however it works logistically, to Trinity House. And should he not comply, then they should just report that.
All right,
Um,
$2,500 per count. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have an ankle monitor with the 24-hour curfew, court, medical, attorney visits, and to participate in anything they have at Trinity House, and employment, as long as you produce the name of your employer, schedule, the location you're gonna be working, proof of employment, and a schedule. You have to supply it to your attorney, who will supply it to the state, and you have to supply it to the ankle monitoring company. Sir, stay away from all Georgia State property. If anybody's standing there on the street wearing a Georgia State University t-shirt, that's Georgia State property as far as you're concerned, so walk away. No further contact with Michael Banks, Christina Banks, Mitchell Jermick, Germick. Once you're released from there, if there happens to be a hole that's popped up, you'll have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle. 2,500 on each count, sir. So that's a $5,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Let's see, Devin Isaiah. Can you wave, nod, shake your head? Let me know if you're there. Oh, got you. All right, it's position 23, 22 CP 210686. Devin Isaiah II. 195 days without indictment, burglary of the first degree, entering an automobile with intent to commit a theft or a felony therein. There is a $15,000 good bond as of October the 25th. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Isaiah 2 and Georgia 5 in South Carolina, open case and for Brookhaven for a burglary in South Carolina, convictions, meth, 2019 assault and battery, 2020 assault and battery, 22 conviction for breach of trust. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Gowdy.
And yes, Your Honor, before the court is Mr. Isaiah. He is 27 years old. He hails from the state of South Carolina. If released on bond, our hope is to have him reunited with his father and his sister, who've had constant communication with the both of them. The address that they have in South Carolina is the address that's reflected on the booking screen, Your Honor. He has been in custody for over 195 days, Your Honor, without indictment. The prelim was held back in October of 2022, Your Honor. Officer was present, probable cause was found for both offenses, Your Honor, and yet still no indictment has been reflected in this case, Your Honor. His case has been a bit complicated for us, Your Honor. He is not a resident of the state of Georgia. And so as a result, a lot of the services he was receiving previously, Your Honor, are out of the state of South Carolina. And so it's been a bit hard for us to get him essentially restarted on those services because they are from out of state, Your Honor. But in any event, I'm hoping that with the help of his family, we can get those services restarted remotely. And so as a result, Your Honor, we asked for bond be set as follows. It's currently, I believe, $10,000 on the burglary and $5,000 on the second offense on the calendar. We're asking for a reduction of bond to $5,000 total. That would make him eligible for the Bill Project. I don't know if they would post his bond because he does have an out-of-state of address. But Your Honor, that is our request at this time, Judge.
All right, what says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The state feels that his current bond as set is both fair and reasonable. I am aware, Your Honor, the state is aware that it has been 195 days without indictment. I will note, and I'm sure Your Honor is aware, that his bond was actually reduced back in October from that 25,000 to the now current bond of 15,000, aside from the passage of time, which I'm not necessarily ignoring that, but that is to say that nothing has necessarily changed in terms of circumstances other than him still being unable to make that bond. Given the fact that he is a multi-state offender, and as the defense, as Ms. Gowdy did state, he has no real ties to this community or even to this state, aside from the fact that he does have that pending burglary out of Brookhaven, which not only concerns the state that he has no ties, but also that he is clearly of a likelihood to reoffend, given the fact that they are essentially the same offense. And so for those reasons, Your Honor, the state feels that his current bond as set is both fair and reasonable. I would ask that you deny a reduction.
Where's he gonna live, Ms. Gowdy?
So the address that I have for him is 405 Charles Street. That's in Florence, South Carolina, a zip code 29506.
That's where he's going back to?
As of right now, Your Honor, yes.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county, the Orca project with a 24-hour curfew except for court, medical emergencies, meet with your attorney, and also work and any kind of treatment. If you have mental health treatment or drug addiction treatment. And you can also work as long as you supply the name of your employer, the location you're going to be working, proof of employment, a schedule. You have to supply that weekly to your attorney and to the ankle monitoring company so that they can make sure they don't violate your bond. If you don't do that, then they're going to violate your bond conditions. I think I already said no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. You have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle if there's any type of hold. No further contact with Sharmil, Sharmil, last name Prabhu. Also, sir, stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Stay out of Georgia unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Don't get gas in South Carolina Drive. Maybe get a hybrid car so you get better gas mileage so you don't run out of gas in Fulton County. I'll let you go 1 mile off an exit on your way back to get gas in the event that you do. That doesn't mean you go off and go shopping. Get off an exit furthest you can go off the exits 1 mile, get gas and get back on there. So we'll do 5,000 and 3,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Let's see, now we have, I think, Malik Kareem. That's you, wave your hand. All right, Christopher Jackson. All right, Ms. Bray. That's position 1 on one of the calendars. 21CP202544, Christopher Jackson. 517 days without indictment, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. There is a $25,000 good bond as of August the 11th. Pre-trial.
Just a second. Christopher Jackson, let me find it. Christopher Jackson. Don't have anything. His arrests are 13 in Alabama. No dispositions listed. Nothing further.
Go ahead, Ms. Bree.
All right, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson, okay, unfortunately, he is residentially challenged. The address that pretrial has, I think, is out of Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. If you're residentially challenged, then 9 out of 10, you have no money, Your Honor. So that is why he's still in jail on this $25,000 bond. I am asking the court to reduce the bond. I'm asking Your Honor to reduce it to 5 so that we can try and do a bail bond project and find him a program, if we can find him a program here in Georgia.
All right. What says the state?
One moment, Your Honor, if I may. Given that this involved a shooting, Your Honor, it's showing that he has history out in Alabama, even though it's not showing that any felony convictions. the state wouldn't have objections to a lower bond, but 5,000 is too low. However, if the defense finds a program beforehand, then they can certainly let us know, as in can be sent to me, to reconsider lowering the bond and having him put in a program. But in the meantime, the state wouldn't have objections to reducing the bond from 25,000 to 20,000, given the nature of the offense. And it's looking from his history in Alabama that he has some firearm offenses from about 10 years ago. And in 2015, Your Honor, and he also has an aggravated assault, not showing a disposition on his NCIC.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, with the exception of court, lawyer visits, or medical visits. And you can also go for work as long as you provide job title and scheduled proof of employment, name of who you're working with, and the exact location you'll be working. You have to do that on a weekly basis, and you also give it to the ankle monitor company. Before it had, he was probably going to go back to where he lived because I got to stay out of Fulton County. That's Bray.
Okay.
You plan on going back to Alabama, sir? Thumbs up or thumbs down? All right, good. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Stay out of Georgia unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. I'll let you go 1 mile off an exit to get gas, but fill up in gas in Alabama before you come back. That ankle monitor is still going to be on your ankle, sir. If you don't participate, they'll revoke your bond. You'll have 48 hours to have that put on just in case there's a hold somewhere. You must provide an address to the jail before you're released. So get an address where you're going to be living. You must provide it to the jail as you're booking out. If you're getting booked out and you don't have an address, you don't get to leave. $15,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Your Honor, I couldn't hear the number. Did you say 15,000?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Hey, Deputy, we have Malik Kareem. Is that a yes? I guess that was a yes. All right, let's see. Mr. Villatoro. Okay, Ms. Chavez, can you ask him if he needs an interpreter?
I don't believe he needs an interpreter, Your Honor.
You don't think so? What about
Señor Villatoro, ¿necesita intérprete?
thumbs up or thumbs down? Some you can't hear him.
Levante la mano si necesita intérprete, señor Villatoro.
Thumbs up or
Señor
thumbs down?
Villatoro.
Okay, he's good. What about Victor Padres Peralta?
Señor Peralta, ¿necesita intérprete?
He may not be in here yet. All right, we'll see when he gets in here. Now I got 2 more people there. All I have is who else is there? Because I got Malik Kareem. All right, it's position 2, Ms. Braid, 22 CP 209-898. Malik Kareem, 223 days without indictment. Armed robbery, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony, and willful obstruction misdemeanor. Pre-trial, there's a $35,000 good bond as of 9/20.
I'm looking. Which position on the
Position 2, it's position 2 is all I know, one of the add-ons. I think that was a
Okay.
reset from the old calendar.
I don't have anything on Malik Kareem.
That was on the
I got it. I don't have anything on Malik Kareem.
all right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
All right, Your Honor, Mr. Kareem he should be 55 now. The address pretrial has is a good address, Your Honor. He is the father of an adult child that's disabled that he helps to support, Your Honor. He has been in custody a long time now. We've had the prelim on the case. The officer showed up and everything. Not sure why this has not been indicted. Prelim was done back in October. So I'm asking for his bond to be substantially reduced, Your Honor.
All right, what says the state?
If I may, 1 moment, Your Honor, I was just trying to pull his history. I have that that he has 58 cycles. He's a repeat offender. Let me see. He has history since 1994. Theft, tampering with evidence. He has a possession of cocaine with intent to distribute conviction. I'm trying to get. Apologies, Your Honor, one moment. He has several matters since that time without a disposition, but many arrests. He has probation violations showing from 2020 for a 13 SC case. I'm sorry, it was 2014, not 2020. He has an aggravated assault against officers in 2014 and willful obstruction, of which is a felony, which was a conviction. That was disposed of on January 16th, 2015. He has probation violations from 2016 for that offense.
North, Booth 5. What are you doing, Booth 5? What? This isn't time for you to make a phone call. Yeah, you. Go ahead.
He looks like he had another probation violation in 2019. Your Honor, he had a parole violation in 2021. He had a theft by, which I think was triggered by a theft by taking in 2020. And then we are another theft misdemeanor though in 2022 of March. And then we have the armed robbery offense. He also has a rap sheet out of Florida. So he's a multi-state offender stemming from 2021. It's a misdemeanor conviction for criminal mischief. And let's see, and also had a charge for being a fugitive. I think that's what brought him here. That disposition date is September 25th, 2021. He also has history in one more state, if I'm not
Bostic,
mistaken.
you're fired. Miss Burke's hired to take over.
Let's see. It looks like he has very old history from the mid 80s, violent history, out of state. Trying to find more recent history, Your Honor. He has an extensive rap sheet, Your Honor. It's a multi-state offender. The state has would object to any reduction in his bond at this time. It looks like he has a $40,000 bond and ankle monitor condition along with stay away, no contact with the victims. That would be the state's position, Your Honor, to keep the bond as is, given his criminal history, likelihood to reoffend, flight risk, nothing further.
Miss Bray, do you know where he's going to live?
When he was interviewed, we were told 395 Linden Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, 30308.
Is that where you're going to live, sir? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 991 Piedmont Avenue Northeast. No further contact with Mary Walton, Walton. Gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, attorney visits and medical visits. You can also leave for work as long as you supply a proof of employment, name of your employment, a schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. You'll have to do that to the ankle monitoring company, give it to your lawyer so they can also give it to the state. So I'll reduce count 1 to 20, count 2 to 8, and count 3 to 4. 20, 8, and 4. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lead the booth. Anybody else know who that is they just brought in Cobb? Because that's all the people I had for Cobb. Booth 2 and Cobb. Could you get the deputy so she can unmute you so I can find out your name?
That's Mr. Kearney, Your Honor.
Mr. Kearney?
If that's the case, that's supposed to be declined
Go
per
ahead. So, Mr.
Rosenbaum.
Kearney, you got one case. Go ahead, Ms. Gowdy, tell him.
So, Your Honor, and Your Honor can look at this yourself. In Odyssey, it reflects a prosecutor's note in his case where it says declined. If you look under events, it says decline, but they just haven't put in the paperwork reflecting the actual decline, Your Honor. So unfortunately, he's in this liminal space between he has a bond hearing currently, but there's a decline. I don't want him to waive the bond hearing because we believe there's a decline that's imminent, but there's nothing to reflect what we see both in Odyssey as well as what we see in email. And I sent the email to both Your Honor and 88 Berg.
I received the email. I can get the paperwork filed just to get it done. If that helps. I'm seeing the same thing that Ms. Gowdy's seeing, lack of paperwork.
Booth 4, Sal, sit down, booth 3. Gentlemen, look here, keep your seat. Nothing more important is going on than right here. Nothing's more important. No, what's more important behind you on that little phone. You're not gonna make a phone call. Don't fall asleep. Trust me, I don't feel well. I'm here. I'm paying attention. I'm paying a lot of attention. You only got to pay attention to yours, so stay awake. All right. So what do y'all want to do with Mr. Kearney?
I mean, UJR jail, Your Honor. I think that makes the most sense. I think the only charge that is of concern that would not be eligible for UJR would be the criminal attempt, but I don't think that criminal attempt offenses are ineligible under 17-612. So we'd ask for UJR through the jail.
So they declined on both, Ms. Burke?
It looks like it looks like all the offenses, I'm sorry, my video's off. It looks like each offense these offenses were declined, Your Honor.
Here's what we'll do. Ms. Young, are you ready on Julius Kearney?
Yes, ma'am.
So they just have the possession of marijuana less announcing criminal attempt to commit robbery, right? But it's already
The robbery was already previously dismissed. The possession of marijuana was UJR jail, and the simple battery was UJR jail. Oh, criminal attempt to commit robbery, correct.
Right. So we'll do no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 435 West Peachtree Street and all MARTA properties. Anyway, sir, even if this is dismissed, MARTA's already banned you from MARTA property, so you can't go back there anyway. No drugs unless, let's see, no drugs. Well, unless it's dismissed, you have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical visits, and work, as long as you supply the name of your employment, name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working to the bonding company and to your attorney. So I've got possession of marijuana less than ounces of UJR, the simple battery. Let's see, it was dismissed as a UJR robbery, and then the criminal attempt to commit robbery. I'll make that $1,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Okay, but 88 Burke, you're going to file that like tomorrow?
I'm gonna find out why it hasn't been filed, if it's gonna be filed, but I'll take care of it.
Thank you so
y'all,
much.
you can email me if you don't see anything before close of business tomorrow, but I made a note on some of these already to see what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm not in
what it
that
says
unit to
Odyssey
know one way or the
declined
other.
November 14th.
Ms. Bray, let's get this. We got a lot to get. Do you got Padres Perlotta? Do they need an interpreter?
Yes.
Okay. You don't see him here, right?
No.
All right. As soon as he gets in, let me know so we can get Ms. Chavez out of here. So position 19, Alexander Villatoro, 22 CP 213400, 95 days without indictment. We got $13,000 split bond as of October the 24th. Possession of Schedule 2 controlled substance, driving motor vehicle on suspended, canceled, revoked registration, no insurance, possession of drug-related objects. Wow.
Villatoro, 10 prior arrests, does not appear to have any felonies. 2 misdemeanors, 1 being violation of the family violence order in 2011, a couple of probation violations, nothing further.
Go ahead, Mr. Tessier. Sorry.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Villatoro is 33 years old. We do have a good address for him. at 3096 Stratford Arms Drive. Confirmed with his family that he does reside there with his parents and his brother. He's been here his entire life, Judge. Almost his entire family's here. Parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephew. He's got 2 children, completed his high school diploma, was working at Omni Cable at the time he was arrested and can return, is what he's told me. What his family has told me, I'm sorry. No prior felony convictions, as you heard, doesn't have 2 or more FTAs, not convicted of 2 or more violent offenses in the last 10 years. Judge, he's been in custody about 95 days, no indictment. We'd be requesting that the bond be reduced to $6,500.
His address, that's in outside of Fulton County, isn't it?
It's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, he had a Lilburn address before.
This is Atlanta, Georgia, 30341.
Sir, are you living in Fulton County or Gwinnett County? Thumbs up for Fulton. Gwinnett. DeKalb. He lives in DeKalb.
Okay.
All right. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, we're referring to Mr. Villatoro. Okay, I apologize. Yes, Your Honor, the state feels his current bond is fair and reasonable. I understand that he has no prior felonies. However, the offenses that he does have are of concern simply because I think they not only show a likelihood to reoffend, they also show a likelihood to disregard court orders. He has prior misdemeanor convictions for violating a family violence order. He actually has a pending case out of Gwinnett for violating a family violence order, along with possession of meth. I also show another pending VGCSA out of Gwinnett. And I do note there appears to be a hold. He's also got a prior conviction for obstruction as well as violation of probations. That history, although not felonious or necessarily violent, does show the state that he has a history and a pattern of not complying with court orders and mandates and not necessarily agreeing with the court's authority over him. And so for those reasons, the state feels that his current bond is fair and reasonable. I would ask that you deny any reduction.
All right, Bostic, is this should this one would have went through pretrial? Mal put it through pretrial for possession of drug-related objects.
What's the question?
Should this case have been put through pretrial? She put drug-related objects through pretrial.
No, it should not have been.
All right, then I'll change that. I didn't think so. All right, sir, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Once again, sir, fill up with gas in DeKalb County. Come, go straight to court, leave, or straight to see your lawyer and leave. You should fill up. Don't get $2 worth of gas. Fill up so you can make from DeKalb County to Fulton and back. All right, that's not that far. You can only come here for court or to see your lawyer. Stay away from 700 Morosco Drive in Atlanta, MROSGO Drive in Atlanta. No driving without a valid license, registration, or insurance. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and employment. Sir, just provide the name of your employer or scheduled proof of employment and exact location you'll be working. Give it to your lawyer, give it to the ankle monitoring company. So we're gonna go 5,000, 1,000, 1,000, and then 100. 5,000, 1,000, 1,000, $100. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lay the boot.
Thank you, Judge. That completes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Thanks, Judge.
All right, let's see. Floyd Tidwell. Wave your hand if you're Floyd Tidwell. All right, got you, sir. 24 is 22 CP 210314 Floyd Lamont Tidwell, 210 days without indictment, willful obstruction of law enforcement officer, removal or attempt to remove a weapon from a public official. There is a $3,400 good bond as of October the 6th. Pre-trial.
Tidwell, multi-state offender. This is his only arrest in Georgia. 1 in Ohio, 12 in Indiana, 3 FTAs, and then conviction for dealing in hash oil. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Tidwell is 30 years old, and she's correct in that he lives in Indiana. He has a hold out of Indiana, Your Honor. He's been in so long. We've done the prelim. It's a silly case. I'm asking for a UJR to the hold only. Because it just makes sense if the state's not going to go forward on it. We did this prelim way back in October. And he's been in since July of last year. So this simple case, this should have been indicted already.
All right. What says the state? And he's gonna live in Indiana, Ms. Bray?
Yeah, well, he doesn't live here. He certainly doesn't live here. So he could go back to Indiana, and he has to go back to Indiana because of
Okay.
the hold.
Just want to know if that's where he's gonna live. What
Yes,
says the
Your
state?
Honor.
Ms. Wiggins, is it you?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. As Your Honor did hear, he is a multi-state offender. And as Your Honor did hear, he is obviously not going to live in Georgia. It's not even exactly clear where he would go. I understand he has a holdout of Indiana, but at that point, once he deals with Indiana, the state's concerned that there's partly due to the fact that the offense did occur in the jail. I believe, given the fact that he has no other history in Georgia, it likely had to do with the holdout of Indiana, for which I do see multiple FTAs. And so the state's concern is not only does he present a danger to the community, given the fact that he attempted to take a weapon from an officer, he has no ties to the community, he's a demonstrated flight risk. I'm concerned that even if we do the UJR hold to Indiana and Indiana resolves whatever they're going to do, we have no idea where he goes at that point. So the state's concerned about actually getting him back here to deal with these charges.
Okay.
Except that he's been here since July trying to deal with these charges, and the state hasn't done their part.
I'll
If they
send
do
this
their
name.
part, he can deal with it.
I'll send this name up too, Ms. Bray. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of Fulton County, sir, unless you're here for court or see your lawyer. Stay out of Georgia unless you're here for court or see your lawyer. You can actually fly into Fulton. Well, it depends on which terminal you go into. You could be flying into Clayton County, but you can fly into the airport. You can't, and get on the train, take it downtown to the Pie Point station, go to court and leave. All right. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical, and work. You provide the name of your employer, place of employment, and the exact location you're going to be working. Sir, you're also going to need to provide an address where you're going to be living. Before they will transport you to your hold, you're going to have to give an address to the jail of where you will be living. All right. We got 1,200 and 1,200. Best of luck to you, sir. Stay out of Georgia, stay out of Fulton County. You can leave the booth.
So is
Quentin
that-
people. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
So that's the bond amount. Are we gonna do that or UJR to the hold? Like, maybe they'll come get him? No?
Miss Wiggins, or was it Miss Burke?
Oh, I think it was Miss
It's Ms. Wiggins, Your Honor.
What's your thought on that?
I apologize. What was the question?
Could it be that or UJR to the hold?
And I do have an address for his aunt that lives here in Georgia. So if he had to come back, which he would to deal with the case, there's an address that I can provide to the court.
Do we know, I understand that there's a hold. Do we know that Indiana is willing to come get him?
They said they were. They said they're willing to extradite.
I mean,
I
I guess
think it's
if
on
they don't
document.
come get him, he still has to post that amount.
Right.
Yes, Your Honor. That's fine.
Okay, or UJR to the hold in Indiana only though, but he still got to get that ankle monitor, so you got to figure that out. That's a him problem, not a me problem. All right, Mr. Cho, Quentin Peoples, wave your hand. One north, sit down.
But I'm sorry, Your Honor, if they are going to a hold, they don't put the ankle monitor
He's got to
on.
get it put on within 48 hours of being released though.
Oh, I see. I got you. Yes.
One north, was that your person? Is he leaving?
I didn't see it.
Who is that? Is that your person?
Which
Quentin
one?
People, are you finished? One north?
Oh, I don't even know who that is.
If you're finished, you can go. All right, Quentin Peoples. No, what about
He's in
Victor?
sumo.
Huh? Gentlemen, you got to wave your hand. Victor Paredes Peralada.
Por favor, el señor Víctor Paredes puede levantar la mano para saber quién es Víctor Paredes.
Not yet, Miss Chavez.
I don't see him.
All right, let's see. What about Nathaniel Henderson? All right, here we go. Position 15, 22 CP 213057, Nathaniel Henderson Jr., 108 days without indictment. We got willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer by use of threats or violence, felony, interference with government property, felony, theft by shoplifting, misdemeanor, giving false information to a law enforcement officer. There's a $14,000 good bond as of October the 10th. Pre-trial.
2 prior arrests, no prior felony arrests, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Safarasi.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Henderson, he's been in custody 108 days without an indictment, Your Honor. He had a prelim scheduled for the 19th of January, and it was reset because the officer failed to appear. His next prelim date was reset to January 27th. Your Honor, this is his first bond meeting since his first appearance. We will ask for a reduction, Your Honor. We're going to ask for $5,000. This is his first time having a felony arrest. We do, I know this would be more appropriate for the prelim, but we do challenge the obstruction charge, at least at the felony obstruction. We're hoping we can get that reduced. Your Honor, Mr. Henderson is 43 years old. We do have a good address for him here in College Park. He spent his whole life here in Georgia. He is a high school grad, and he was employed, Your Honor. He was a truck driver, and he actually has a CDL. And so we also have a social worker looking into a program, Your Honor. He can't post any bond. So we would ask for the $5,000 so we could at very least apply him to the bail project and see if that's a possibility that they would post it.
And where's he gonna live?
College Park.
Okay. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. I actually show more history than that. I show that Mr. Henderson is a multi-state offender out of Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and South Carolina. I do see, and he does have no prior felonies. However, he has pretty much all misdemeanors. There's an arrest out of South Carolina that due to the code section, due to the way it's written, I can't tell you necessarily would it be a felony. All I know is it is a theft over $10,000 is the allegation. He has FTAs out of multiple states, including this one as well as Alabama. There's a prior FTA on a shoplifting offense out of Georgia. So the state feels that he is a demonstrated flight risk. Not to mention the facts of the case also demonstrate that he is a flight risk inherently. With the state is concerned that he's a likelihood to reoffend. I understand that the defense or Ms. Safarasi intends to dispute the felony obstruction. However, the allegation being that he attempted to take a weapon from an officer while he was fighting him to the point where the officer had to use forceful maneuvers in order to get compliance. There's also the fact that he's a multi-state offender indicates loose, if any, ties to the community beyond the history. And so the state feels that his current bond as set is reasonable.
Your Honor, I have to object. I was going to let the state finish their argument, but I have to object to her saying he's a multi-state offender. I'm looking both at his pretrial report as well as GCIC. I only see Georgia cases here at arrest, and I see no convictions, and that is what pretrial had stated. So I'm not sure what Ms. Wiggins is looking at.
Ms. Wiggins, can you tell us what you're talking about?
Yes, Your Honor. I have both a GCIC and an NCIC for Mr. Henderson, which indicates history out of Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and South Carolina. That's where I got that from. I didn't make that information up.
Oh, I'm not accusing you of making that. Bostic, get on the stick. What are you doing, Bostic? She's slacking these days. She's slacking. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 835 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Stay away from all Walmart stores. No further contact with Officer D. Thomas unless in their official law enforcement capacity. And have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and employment. Provide proof of employment, name of your employer, location, and the schedule you'll be working. You have to submit that to the ankle monitoring company and to the state each time you get any type of assignment. So we'll do 8,000, 2,500, and 500. 8,000, 2,500, 500, and then 250. 8,000, 2,500, 500, and 250. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Generic Paul. Thank you, sir. Position 16, Generic Bernard Paul. 22 CP 213058, 109 days without indictment. You got burglary in the first degree. As of 10/10, there's a $5,000 good bond. Pre-trial.
Generic Paul, 25 prior arrests. Convictions of 2011 burglary, 04 burglary, 09 burglary. 5 arrests from convictions for misdemeanor, 1 arrest for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right. Ms. Sarfarazzi?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Paul has been in custody 109 days without indictment. He did have a prelim this month. Your Honor, we have a good address for him here in Decatur, which is his aunt's house. We also, he's a lifelong resident here in Georgia. He spent his whole life here in Georgia. He's a high school graduate. He has been in custody some time, but before he was in custody, he was a dishwasher for the White Bull, which I believe is a restaurant. And prior to his incarceration here, he was in DeKalb County. Your Honor, we are asked for a reduction today based on the fact that he's been in for over 104 days, 109 days. So we would ask for $5,000 so we can potentially apply him for the bail project.
All right. What says the state?
Your Honor, I just want to make sure I'm clear. Did you say there's a $5,000 bond? Or 50?
I'm sorry, $50,000 bond.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I saw the correct thing in jailing.
All right. Sorry, I'm still tired, still recovering.
It's fine. Although the state feels that his current bond is set is fair and reasonable, I understand that given the length of time, the court may feel a reduction is necessary. We only ask that the court take into account he does have a lengthy history, including prior burglaries. I believe at this point he is or should be a burglary recidivist under the statute, not just a repeat offender, but a burglary recidivist in and of itself. He has prior failure to appears as well as violation of probations, which again, the court feels goes towards not only his likelihood to reoffend, but also that flight risk as well as a disobedience towards court authorities. I do show that he is wanted out of both Milton and Alpharetta, which the state also feels goes towards his flight risk factors. And so understanding that the court is likely to give that reduction given the lack of indictment at this point, the court just asks that the reduction be fair and reasonable and feels that a straight reduction of $5,000 is too low given his history and the circumstances.
Ms. Sarfarazzi, I had before, he's going to live in Decatur. Is that right?
Yes.
Going to live in DeKalb County, sir? Thumbs up or thumbs down? 2 thumbs up. Go to DeKalb County. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 901 Abernathy Road, Sandy Springs. No further contact with TAHA, last name YARAMAD. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're for court or to see your lawyer, sir. That means you fill up in DeKalb County. Drive. Don't run out of gas. Fill it up. Not just $2 or $3. Okay, sir. Fill it up so you can get to DeKalb County. You can get to Fulton County. You can get back. Have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, a schedule, the exact location you're going to be working. You have to supply that to the ankle monitoring company and to the your defense attorney so she can supply that to the state. All right. $35,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. And if there's a hold, sir, you got 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle. Nick, you can leave the booth, sir. Nicholas K. All right. Ms.
Judge,
Sarp-
which defendant was that you just gave the bond to? I'm sorry.
Paul, Frederick Paul. I'm sorry. Mr. Paul.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm.
Okay, sorry. I threw it on the ground.
Jernick Paul, Your Honor.
Jernick Paul. Sorry, I was trying to read it. I threw my papers on the ground with my stack. All right, Nicholas Anthony, position 20, 21 CP 198-414, 284 days without indictment, burglary in the second degree, loitering and prowling. Now, this looks like he's already made this bond of $11,000, Ms. Sarfarazzi. Have they came off of it?
Yes, Your Honor. What happened was he was picked up on another case that ended up getting dismissed. And then they had held him on this case.
So they came off, Atlantic bonding came off of it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. 284 days. Pre-trial.
I heard you say Nicholas Anthony. Is that Anthony his middle name or something?
Antoli, Nicholas Antoli K.
Okay. 7 prior arrests. First offender on a meth drug-related object. 1 FTA, has an open case in Gwinnett, burglary, 2 counts. Criminal trespass, entering auto, theft by taking, and you're blurry again, Judge.
All right, dang it, why do I keep going blurry? I think it makes me look younger, Bostic. All right, Ms.
Yeah, that
Sofrozzi. You're fired, Bostic. All right, I have he's gonna be living in Decula, Georgia, Ms. Sofrozzi, is that right?
So Your Honor, he was actually accepted into sober living in College Park. And so he would probably go there. So we would be asking for a UJR to the program, or in the alternative, the dollar amount of $5,000.
So half of College Park is in Fulton County, half is in Clayton County. Is that sober living in Clayton or is it in Fulton?
I can give you the address, Your Honor, but I'm not sure which county it's located in.
All right. So once he gets out of sober living, then you going back to Decula, Georgia, sir? Or you gonna get a place to live in Fulton? I don't know. Go ahead, Ms. Sofrozzi.
Yes, Your Honor, I mean, he'd be in sober living for a while. I mean, their program is usually several months, and so I'm not sure if he has another address. I have spoken with his mother quite frequently. My understanding is that sober living would be the best place for him, for his housing.
All right, what says the state?
I just want to make sure I'm clear because I don't think I saw that. So he originally had $11,000 bond on these charges.
He did.
Through pre-trial services, I assume.
No, it was $11,000 bond. There's no amount on pretrial anymore.
Okay. So $11,000 bond, which he then made, was picked up on another charge, which was dismissed. I'm still showing the $11,000 bond for this in.
I am too. That's why I asked her if it was. So he has an $11,000 bond still. That's why I asked her if they came off of it.
I'm not entirely sure if someone came off of it. I don't know, because this case was before me.
All right, so I would
didn't
just
see anything about
suggest this,
bonding.
that maybe you want to check, because if they didn't come off of it, then he's bonded out and he can leave. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead, Ms. Wiggins, make your argument.
I mean, my argument would be, if the case he was rearrested on was dismissed, I say we just reinstate the $11,000 bond. I'm fine with that.
How about this? No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 782 Peachtree Street. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, or follow any recommendations of the sober living program. So work, you have to supply the name of your employer, location you're working, proof of employment, and your schedule to your attorney and also to the ankle monitoring company. No further contact with Latoya Guest, Guest. Yes.
The bonding company came off the bond, so he would have to go through another bonding company. That's what happened.
All right, so I'll unfire you this one time, Boston. All right, so we'll make it 8,000 and 1,000. So it's a $9,000 good bond he has to make now, Ms. Sofrozzi. Thank you, sir. You could leave the booth. Did we see the Spanish speaking person? No.
Señor Peralta Paredes. Señor Peralta Paredes, levante la mano.
Judge, I'm checking with Lieutenant to see if we have that person in the booth.
All right, because Ms. Chavez just sitting here making money. Ms. Chavez, do you want to go ahead and drive to where you need to go, and then we could call you, could pull over?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and keep driving. That way I don't want you sitting at the parking lot at work. That's pretty dangerous right now, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, Kentario Shields. All right. Mr. Cho, it's position 21, Bostic 21 CP 209-650, Kentario Xavier Shields. 233 days without indictment. You got criminal attempt to commit armed robbery. And I'm sorry, criminal attempt to commit robbery. It's a $20,000 good bond as of September the 13th. Pre-trial.
Only prior adult arrest.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cho.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Shields is been in jail a very long time. His mother is been very patient and has been on speakerphone with me this entire time as well. She's available to the court for any questions the court might have in regards to Mr. Shields. Judge, I say all that to say that Mr. Shields has a mom who loves him very much, who can verify the address where he'd be living at. And to just reemphasize to the court that the bond is not feasible for him nor the family. Not only does Mr. Shields has a mom who loves him, but he has a grandmother who loves him as well. The family is going to try to pool their money together to try and get the funds necessary to bail Mr. Shields out. Judge, as you heard, this is I believe his first adult arrest, and at this point, I don't mean to be a lecturing person. I just we've been doing this for years now, and it has not changed for whatever that's worth. And if we keep doing this, it's going to keep going, I think. Long and short, Judge, Mr. Shields has a good address, 2591 Ether Ridge Drive, ETHERRIDGE. That's in Atlanta, 30318. That is, Ether Ridge is one word. He has a daughter he needs to take care of. She's going to be 3 on March 7th. We're at 8 months, not indicted. He denies these allegations very strongly. He would want to handle this with a possible plea bargain as well. We have had a social worker speak to Mr. Shields, and he signed up paperwork for a program, but we don't have anything at this time to announce to the court. He was working. He was working at FedEx, UPS. He has his forklift license. He's missing out on the life of his daughter. He wants to fight this case, but he's also been in jail for a very long time. The family has advised me that they can afford about, I believe, $200 or so right now. So an order of magnitude than what the bond is. Judge, we are asking the court to consider. I mean, it's an attempt and it's a robbery. It's not an armed robbery. It was dismissed as, or it was, I think, dismissed as armed robbery is the correct way of putting it. I would ask the court to consider defense's request is.
Hold on a second. 2 North, booth 4. What are you doing? You're not getting in there to get on the phones? Hang up.
Perella. I believe that's Perella's, Your Honor.
Okay, well, tell them to hang up the phone.
Hey, do me a favor. Tell
2 North.
No, he doesn't know English.
Deuce North.
I'm gonna get you.
Hang up. Hang up. Ooh. No, dose, not deuce. Sorry. Whatever. Stand by. All right. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Cho. His
Yes.
brother was in front of me today for a prelim. I don't want
Yes.
them to talk to each other. So I don't think they both need to live with mama. Is there somewhere else where this one can live? Because they were both charged with criminal attempt to commit robbery.
I mean, Judge, we're scraping at the bottom of the barrel. Family has 2 mouths to feed in essence, basically, and we acknowledge that the other Shields is the code is in Rice Street Jail.
Is there another relative that one of them can live with?
This is the best address we have, and verified by mom. She is on the line if the court would like to ask her. This was an armed robbery. It was declined as an armed robbery. And at this point, Judge,
Okay, is she on the phone with you? Ask her. I don't see her on here.
Miss Shields, the judge is asking if there's a good address other than the Ether Ridge address. Can you hear me?
That's my home address.
You got a different address for Contario because the judge has concerns about the brothers being at the same place at the same time?
Oh no, my other son, he's gonna be staying with, I think, my sister.
Okay.
He lied today and said he was gonna be staying at the Etheridge.
I think he's gonna be staying with my sister because he has a house
Okay.
And, they're requiring him not to come back to this address anyway.
Ms. Shields, it sounds like what was represented to Judge Manning yesterday was that Contario's brother would also be staying at Etheridge. So, I mean, Judge, I can't speak to that beyond that at this point.
Okay, so tell her one of them can stay with her, one of them needs to stay with somewhere else.
Okay, I think Ms. Shields was relaying to the court that they can accommodate apparently.
Okay, that's good. All right, what's his estate?
Yes, Your Honor. I will note, as I'm sure Your Honor is aware, the bond was already reduced to the current amount. I do recognize that it is not charged, or at least currently charged, as an armed robbery. If I take to understand Your Honor did hear the preliminary hearing, then I'm sure Your Honor is well aware of the at least alleged facts of the situation. And so, without going too much into that detail, state's concerns with respect to the danger to the community. And I do know that his brother does have the same bond amount. However, and the only reason I bring this up is because they are both barely adults. His brother's juvenile history is slightly less violent than his. And so I do believe keeping his bond amount, or at least not necessarily reducing it lower than his brother's, would take into account both of their histories. And so the state feels that his current bond amount, given the fact that it was previously reduced and he does have that history, which is slightly more violent than his brother's, is fair and reasonable in the circumstances.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with your co-defendant, Zarius, Zayrius Shields. So both of y'all have to supply an address where you'll be living. You just file it in the into the case. No further contact with Anthony, the victim, alleged victim, O'Brien, O-Bryant. Stay away from all MARTA property. Stay away from 3800 Main Street in East Point. You can't go to any MARTA property, sir. You've already been expelled from there and you've been banned from there. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You can have an ankle monitor with a 24-hour curfew for court, lawyer, medical, and employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, location that you're going to be working, a schedule, and proof of employment. If you graduated high school, sir, thumbs up or thumbs down? You have? Okay. All right, so we'll make this a $15,000 good bond. That ankle monitor will be placed on you within 48 hours if there's a hold anywhere else. Best of luck to you, sir. You could leave the booth.
Your Honor, before we move forward, can I ask Ms. Safarazi a question?
Go ahead.
Is Nicholas K, is he gonna have a transport order to sober living, or he's gonna go after he's released from jail?
We can do a transport order. I have to still coordinate sober living to see what day they would want him to come. So if when that happens, I will just create one and send it off to Judge Manning.
Thank you.
All right, do we have Royce Bell? All right, Mr. Bell, you got 2 cases here. Wait, 1, 2, 3 cases here. Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
All right, it starts with, it's a 10, 11, and 12 Bostic. 22 CP 213184, Royce Bell, 104 days without indictment. There's no bond for theft by taking felony. 22 CP 213187, 104 days without indictment. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 counts of burglary as of October the 14th, no bond. 22 CP 213485, there's burglary in the 2nd degree as of October 27th. There is no bond. Pre-trial.
In regards to Royce Bell, extensive arrest history, extensive open cases, 22 SC 184-185, conspiracy, 2 counts, burglary, 3 counts, theft by taking tools, theft by taking eaten. 21 SC 178-875, trafficking, meth, ID fraud, false statements, drug-related objects, 5 misdemeanors. 22 SC 183-425, firearm by a convicted felon, misdemeanors. Judge Eaton. 22 CP 209082, firearm by a convicted felon, misdemeanors. And 21 CP 204895, didn't write down those charges. 5 felony convictions and rest for probation violation. None further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Bell was born and raised here in the state of Georgia. He is 40 years old. He's had a birthday since he's been in jail. Actually, it was a couple of days ago. He did attend trade school in the area of electrician, home improvement and construction. He did earn the certifications in those areas, and he has worked self-employed as a handyman. He has 3 children, and all of them stay with him. He is entitled to a bond because it's over 90 days on all of them. I understand that he has the record that he has, and that he has his open cases, but the law says, Your Honor, must set a bond, and I am asking Your Honor to set a bond on each of his 3 cases.
All right. Where's he gonna be living, Miss Bray?
Hold on. I know I wrote that down somewhere. I have 155 Vine Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
Is that it, sir? Thank you, sir. All right, what says the state?
As Ms. Bray mentioned, Mr. Bell is entitled to a bond. He has been in custody for 104 days without indictment. The state would recommend a total $50,000 good bond, Your Honor, to be broken up as the court seems fit. It appears from the burglaries in the first, they were storage units. They weren't an actual home, but there were several items that were taken. So given that it wasn't a home, the state is taking that into consideration. But Mr. Bell does have an extensive criminal history. So the state finds that a $50,000 bond total amongst all 3 cases is.
All right.
Okay.
All right, on position 10, ending in 3184. No drinks, no drinks, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, none of that either. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with John Field. Stay away from 2115 Monroe Drive Northeast. Stay away from all public storage facilities. And you're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with its 24-hour curfew, sir, except for court, lawyer, medical, employment. Name of your employer, proof of employment is scheduled, and exact location you'll be working. 4 North Booth 3, sit down.
Remember, he's self-employed, Your Honor.
All right, well, then he has to, booth 3, stay in your seat. All right, so he has to provide exactly where he's been working in his schedule. He'll have to give that to the ankle monitoring company and to you, and you can supply it with the state. That's a $10,000 good bond. On the case on position 11 in 3187, stay away from 2331 Adams Drive Northwest. Stay away from all public storage units. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. No further contact with Calvin Culbreth, Culbreath. All I have, the rest is Miss Mira, Mera, Miss Thaxton, Miss Burrell, Burill, and Miss Satalya. Gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and work. You have to supply your employer, and if you're self-employed, you got a job, you have to provide proof that you have that job, a schedule, the exact location you'll be working. It's $10,000 on each count, $40,000. And then 3485, $10,000 good bond. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1484 Northside Drive. No further contact with NEDA, last name RAHBARI, with an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a court, lawyer, medical, employment. Same thing. Proof of that you have a job, exact location you'll be working in, a schedule. You have to supply that every single time, sir, to the ankle monitoring company and to Mr. Bray, or else you'll be in violation of your bond conditions. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lead the booth. Ms. Chavez.
Your
Victor
Honor,
Paredes
Ms.
Peralata.
Correa- Your Honor, Ms. Correa said she'd be willing to help, and I can grab her if you need.
All right, Miss Chavez is back now.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Ms. Chavez. You swear affirm and translate from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, the best of your knowledge, skills, and abilities, and the best that you can understand what I'm saying.
I do.
All right. Victor Paredes Peralata, sorry.
And how long has he been in, Your Honor?
104 days.
How many?
104.
Okay,
Go ahead,
so
Ms. Chavez.
Victor Peralta Paredes.
22
Victor,
Yeah, he's there. Sir,
Okay. Señor,
tell him to wave at you.
por favor, mueva la mano si es usted Víctor Peralta Paredes. Levante la mano.
Judge, you want to see if he can move in another booth on that floor if he may be having problems hearing? We have booth 5 open.
Can he not? Okay, hold on. This other guy's gonna be nice. Go over there and. Try it again, Ms. Chavez.
Señor Peralta, ¿usted escucha? Levante la mano.
Okay. So
All
you
right.
can,
So it's 2 cases, Ms. Chavez.
Okay.
22 CP 213209.
209.
104 days without indictment, criminal attempt to commit a felony.
109. Este es el caso 22 CP 213209. Ha estado 104 días sin ser acusado formalmente.
There's
What
a
are the
six-
charges, Your Honor? Can you please repeat the charges?
Well, there's only one on here. There's actually 3. The other 2 haven't been dismissed, have they, Miss Bray?
no, Your Honor. We were
Okay.
supposed to have a prelim this past week and the officer did not appear.
All right, so it's simple battery,
Uh-huh.
criminal attempt to commit a felony,
Okay.
And
and
another simple battery.
simple battery.
Judge, he's also
Usted-
number 1 on one of those add-on calendars.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I know he's got 2 cases. I just got to get through this one.
Señora, el primer caso es 2 cargos de golpes simples y también intención penal de cometer un delito mayor.
That's got a $6,000 good bond as of October the 17th.
El 17 de octubre le pusieron una fianza de $6,000.
His second case is 22 CP 213174.
El segundo caso es 22 CP 213174.
It's for robbery,
Es por robo,
104 days without indictment, and there's a $7,500 good bond.
170, Your Honor,
No, $7,500 good bond, excuse me.
7,500.
Uh-huh.
Usted ha estado 104 días sin ser acusado formalmente y tiene una fianza de 7,500.
You ready, Ms. Chavez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow.
Antecedentes penales.
Go ahead, Boston.
Things we endure. Only 2 arrests are these 2 cases.
Solo tiene 2 arrestos estos 2 casos.
All right, Ms. Bray, don't forget about Ms. Chavez. Go ahead.
Okay, I remember. Your Honor, what we have is he's 29 years old.
Él tiene 29 años, dice su abogado.
Born and raised in Mexico,
Nació y creció en México.
but he has lived here in the Atlanta area for the last 6 years.
En los últimos 6 años está vivido en el área de Atlanta.
He did graduate high school.
Graduado de la preparatoria, high school.
Now, unfortunately, he is residentially challenged, Your Honor, which is why he's
Desafor-
still in jail.
Desafortunadamente, él es indigente, por eso todavía está en la cárcel.
So at this time, Your Honor, I'm asking that his bond be reduced in half.
Por eso, señoría, le estoy pidiendo que le reduzca la fianza a la mitad.
All right. What says the state?
¿Qué dice la fiscalía?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gracias, su señoría.
The state has a question.
La fiscalía tiene una pregunta.
If he is released on bond, where would he go given his current housing situation?
Si él sale con fianza, ¿a dónde viviría si es que no tiene casa donde vivir?
Do not know.
No sé,
honestly, I
dice su
don't.
abogado.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Ms. Bray? I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. I do not know where he would be living. We were not giving numbers like for relatives or anything, even friends or anything. So I honestly do not know where he would be living.
No sé dónde él viviría, porque ya que él no nos ha dado un número de teléfono de familiares o amigos, realmente no sé dónde él pudiera vivir.
Ms. Chavez, ask him if he has a place to live and he can give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Señor, ¿tiene usted un lugar donde vivir? Si ese es el caso, por favor, levante la mano. Levante la mano si no tiene un lugar donde vivir. He doesn't have a place where to live, Your Honor.
He's raising his hand. That's okay. Can you not say thumbs up or thumbs down in Spanish?
It's easier to say, raise your hand.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Burke.
Your Honor, given the nature of the allegations for each case,
Debido a la naturaleza de los alegatos de cada caso,
the state would only be inclined to a reduction the following way.
la fiscalía solamente está dispuesta a reducir la fianza de la siguiente manera.
For position 4, 22 CP 213-209.
Para la posición 4, 22 CP 213-209.
Reduce it to a $5,000 good bond.
Reducírselo a una fianza de $5,000.
For the robbery, which is 22 CP 213-174.
Para el robo, que es el número 22 CP 213-174.
The state would reduce that, would be comfortable with, I guess, with a $6,000 good bond.
La fiscalía estaría cómoda de reducirle su fianza a $6,000.
Understanding Mr. Paredes Peralta's situation, each case involves him, what it's alleged to target women that are running outside or waiting.
Ya dado la situación que el señor del señor Paredes, donde se alega que él tiene encuentros con mujeres que corren o afuera.
The state wouldn't be okay with reducing that bond lower unless there is some sort of placement of anything for him, but not to just release him back on the streets at risk of him reoffending.
La fiscalía no se sentiría a gusto en reducirle la fianza, solo si estuvieran seguros de que usted va a un lugar ya designado, no quieren que salga a la calle libre, sin algún tipo de organización, porque tienen miedo que usted vuelva a cometer otra ofensa.
And I'll clarify that even if placement is found for him, the state would need to review that placement and review the matters before this court today.
Y quiero clarificar que aunque se le haya encontrado un lugar donde vivir, la fiscalía quiere revisar el lugar donde va a vivir y el lugar donde usted iría para poder tratar este caso.
Nothing further, Your Honor, from the state.
Nada más, su señoría, de la fiscalía.
All right. On the case ending in 209.
Del caso que termina en 209.
No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons.
No puede utilizar drogas solo si son prescritas, no puede utilizar alcohol, no puede poseer drogas.
No further contact with McKenna Croft.
No puede tener más contacto con McKenna Croft.
Nina Plotko, Plotko.
Nina Platko.
You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew.
Se le va a poner un grillete en el tobillo pagado por el condado con un arresto domiciliario de 24 horas.
Can leave for court, medical attention, see the attorney. Employment, as long as he supplies the name of his employer, place of employment, and a schedule where he'll be working.
Y solo puede salir si es que va a ver al doctor, va a ver a su abogado, va al tribunal y puede trabajar, o médico, puede ir a trabajar siempre y cuando le dé el horario y el lugar donde va a trabajar a la fiscalía.
Stay away from all Georgia Tech property, including housing.
Tiene que mantenerse alejado de todas las propiedades de Georgia Tech, incluyendo las habitaciones, los lugares dormitorios.
So it's 1,500, 2,000 and 1,500.
1,500, 2,000 y 1,500.
All right, on the second case,
En el segundo caso,
$6,000 good bond,
$6,000 de fianza.
no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons.
No puede tomar drogas, no puede tomar alcohol, no puede poseer armas.
Stay away from 290 17th Street.
Tiene que mantenerse alejado de la dirección 290, calle 17.
Let's stay away from Atlantic Station.
Tiene que mantenerse alejado de Atlantic Station.
No further contact with Jamie Rios, R-I-O-S.
No puede tener más contacto con Jamie Rios.
Ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew.
Y se le va a poner un grillete en el tubillo pagado por el condado y va a tener arresto domiciliario por 24 horas al día.
Court, lawyer, and medical attention.
Solo puede salir cuando tiene que ir al tribunal a ver a su abogado o atención médica.
Employment, as long as he supplies the name of his employer, proof of employment schedule, and the location he'll be working.
Puede trabajar siempre y cuando dé prueba de ese trabajo con una carta, los horarios y el lugar donde usted va a estar trabajando.
To the ankle monitoring company and his lawyer.
Esta información se la va a dar a la compañía que maneja los grilletes y también a su abogado.
And remind him, Ms. Chavez, he has to provide an address where he's going to be living. He has to let them know at the jail and let his attorney know before he'll be let out on bond.
Señor, para que usted pueda salir bajo fianza con estas condiciones, necesita darle a la cárcel y a su abogado dirección donde usted va a vivir. Solo así va a poder salir.
Best of luck to you, sir. He can leave the booth.
Suerte, señor. Eso es todo.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
he looked like he had a question when he was raising his hand. I'm not sure if I'm just seeing things or not,
Let's
though.
see. Does he have a question, Ms. Chavez?
¿Tiene preguntas, señor? I guess so, Your Honor.
Can you unmute 2 North, booth 3, Ms. Travoria?
Yes, Judge, give me a minute.
All right, let's see. Is Kelton Flowers here?
Your Honor, he already posted this bond. He's being held in, waiting on the State Board of Pardon and Parole to come.
So
But he
we don't need
posted,
to-
yeah, so
I see them on here, but I never know if they came off of it. So you sure they didn't come off his bond?
they didn't, Your Honor. I clicked on bond on the booking screen and it just shows that he posted bond October 15th, 2022. And he's just been waiting for his parole hold. It's the only thing that's holding him in on the booking screen.
All right, sir. You can go ahead and leave, okay? I can't do anything about parole.
The mic is on, Your Honor.
All right, you want to ask him what he wants, Ms. Chavez?
¿Cuál es la pregunta, señor?
Entonces, que me puedas regresar, bueno, yo pensaba irme a México porque tenía que ver a mi familia, y pues no pensaba quedarme aquí, pero por lo mismo de que no tengo dónde vivir, pues por eso era la pregunta, porque a lo
Que si
mejor,
lo pueden regresar a México.
no, que a lo mejor pensaba que iba a quedar acá o yo podía haber, tenido la incertidumbre de poder sido arrestado en el camino, porque como no tengo dónde vivir y porque yo a lo mejor había algún movimiento en la frontera, porque yo pues ahorita pues tenía que irme pues para ver a mi familia, ¿no? O sea,
No le, Your Honor, it's difficult to understand. Sea claro con la pregunta. ¿Cuál es la pregunta?
en todo caso que me vaya a regresar yo a México porque eso ya es seguro, ya no voy a quedar acá, voy a ir y después regresar para hacer unos trámites, documentos, no sé, me faltaba una cartilla y todo por el estilo. Necesito ir a México y qué pasa en esos casos y cómo sería.
I need to go back to Mexico. I need to go get some type of documents. So how can that happen?
Negative.
No, no puede, señor.
¿En qué tiempo más o menos?
¿Perdón?
Más o menos en el tiempo, porque eso es normal, ¿no? Pienso, como no soy de aquí, es como la preocupación, ¿no? Más que nada de la familia, ¿no? Y que luego como si hay problemas en
Usted no puede salir, no puede regresar a México.
¿Hasta cuándo?
How long will I stay here?
Yo tengo problema es de que mi tarjeta...
I don't know. So, Ms. Chavez. Sir, mira.
Señor, un momento. La juez le quiere decir algo.
Ms. Chavez, tell him that Ms. Bray will probably have Ms. Correa go with her or something, and they'll meet with him and talk about whatever he needs to know. But no, he ain't just tripping back over to Mexico to pick up some papers.
Usted, su abogado le va a llegar a hablar, la señora, y junto con dos abogados lo van a visitar y usted le hace la pregunta a ellos, porque usted está hablando de que quiere regresar a México para recoger unos documentos.
Para saber más que nada las probabilidades de que dice que no puedo regresar, pues yo tengo mi tarjeta de vecino legal y nada más quería saber eso. Y si no, pues...
So, Ms. Chavez, just tell him wait to meet with his lawyer. We're going to be here all night. I'm not going to be. He ain't going back to Mexico. He can talk.
Señor, usted no va a poder regresar a México. Usted va a tener que hacerle esas preguntas a su abogado. La juez no tiene toda la noche para estar discutiendo eso.
Tell him he can leave the booth. We've muted.
Puede salir de la sala y habla con su abogado.
Thank you, Ms. Chavez.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Have a good evening. LaMarcus Redding. LaMarcus Redding. Jordan Crawford. All right, let's see, Mr. Cazzoli, or who's handling this for Mr. Cazzoli? Here's Mr. Cazzoli here. Here he is. All right, 22-CP-213144, Jordan Crawford, 104 days without indictment. Burglary in the first degree, possession of tools during the commission of a crime, criminal trespass, loitering and prowling. There's a $15,000 good bond as of October the 13th. Pre-trial.
Reading, 1 in Florida, 8 in Georgia. Open case in judicial hall 19 SC 169798, criminal damage to property, criminal trespass. Nothing variable.
Go ahead, Mr. Cazzoli.
Good evening, Your Honor. Mr. Crawford is 24 years old. He's been living in Atlanta for the last 11 years. He has his GED. Before his arrest, he was working at Apollo Studios doing real estate. He is the owner of that business. So he does have secure employment once he is released, Your Honor. However, because his business was not making very much money, he does not have very much to get out on bond to restart up that business since he's been inside. Your Honor, he does not have a good address right now. His only good address is the incident location. He was ordered to stay away from that location. So, Your Honor, we are asking for a bond not to exceed $5,000. There are some severe MH issues underlying this incident as well. As the court knows, the bail project does require a good address in order to spring somebody for bond, Your Honor. So if the solution was either to find housing or some sort of inpatient treatment, Your Honor, it would take until we found that for him to be released on a $5,000 bond. So that's what we're asking for.
All right, so he had an address of Covington, Georgia on his booking sheet. Is that where you're gonna live, sir, Covington? No, not wave. Thumbs up or thumbs down? All I say is Covington. Okay, I can't hear you. Yes or no? Okay, you're gonna live in Covington area. Gotcha. Okay, you're gonna have to give Mr. Cazzoli your address, okay? Okay. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. I think there was some confusion. I think Bostic gave the history for Redding, not Crawford.
Bostic.
I show him to be a multi-state offender out of Georgia, Florida, and a prior juvenile history.
I gave that history for Crawford. One arrest in Florida, eight in Georgia in an open case for Jordan Crawford.
Okay, I'm sorry. I heard Reading, so I heard you say Reading, so never mind. My bad. Ignore that. I apologize. Yeah, so multi-state offender. I see the current bond is, I believe it's 15,000. That's what I see.
$15,000 split bond, yes.
Okay. I do recognize he's been in custody for over 100 days. I recognizing that, I would only ask that if the court is inclined to reduce a bond, that if there's some way we can add a condition regarding mental health treatment, or at least to begin that process, so that he's at least.
Does he need that, Mr. Cazzoli?
Your Honor, we've already reached out to a social worker
Okay.
regarding that. So
Okay.
So it depends on Your Honor to decide whether that satisfies the condition of starting that process.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. So I would ask that a condition would be that he begin treatment. Ideally that he would be on treatment while he's on bond. So
right.
at least that can begin.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of Fulton County, sir, unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, mental health treatment, and employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, your schedule, and the exact location you'll be working, to the ankle monitoring company and to Mr. Cazzoli, so you can turn it over to the state. Stay away from 490 West Paces Ferry Road, which should be fine because that's in Fulton County. No further contact, and all I have was the last name, Mr. Milam, M-I-L-A-M. Also, sir, you're required to get into some mental health treatment and participate in that and follow any instructions that they give you. Count one's already, for some reason, UJR jail. I'll do count 2 at 5,000, count 3 at 500, and count 4 at 500. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused as well?
Yes, sir. All right, Ms. Gowdy, I got.
Your Honor, before we go back to, before we move to the next person, Mr. Peralta, he went to prelim today. And he had an added charge of simple battery. They UJR Riverside that charge. And so I'm going to do I guess an amended bond.
Wait, they didn't set any other bonds?
No, it was Judge Dallas. You know, she just went with the same bond. So we can give him that 6,000 in all your conditions. Because he don't have any conditions. So it's going to be a 6,000 split bond.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, Marquarius, sorry, Mr. Walker. All right, thank you for your patience, sir. You got a couple cases here. Positions 6 and 7, 21 CP 204695, Marquarius Walker, 103 days without indictment. You got VGSA attempt to commit conspiracy to violate the Georgia Controlled Substance Act, felony possession of cocaine. 21 CP 204699, 103 days without indictment, possession, manufacture, distribution, sale of marijuana, and sale of methamphetamines. No bond as of November the 22nd. Pre-trial.
Mr. Walker, 19 prior arrests, a lot of stuff going on. 2 arrests for probation violation, open case 20 CP 114655, obstruction, 2 counts, 22 SC 185264, tampering, firearm by first offender, capital offense, 2 counts, firearm during aggravated assault, assigned to Judge Krause, 2 misdemeanor convictions, a couple of other felony convictions, aggravated assault, 2 counts, robbery, 2 counts, couple of FTAs, and conviction for cocaine. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Gowdy.
And yes, Your Honor, before the court is Mr. Walker. He is 35 years old, Your Honor. He's local to the Metro Atlanta area, has been here his entire life, Your Honor. If released on bond, he does have a good address. It is the address that is reflected on the booking screen, Your Honor. I just want to correct one thing that pre-trial recited. For that 22 SC case that's in front of Judge Krause, Your Honor, it is not a capital offense. It came in as such, but however, the grand jury decided not to, or the state rather, decided not to go forward with the capital offenses, Your Honor. So it remains our nonviolent offenses, Your Honor. For both cases on the calendar today, that includes 21 CP 204695, as well as the other case on the calendar, Your Honor. He has been in custody.
Hold on, is that your client that says he can't hear? Because he's just pointing, oh, no, he's not, okay, so,
Judge, I'm contacting Lieutenant to move him to another booth.
all right, thank you, sorry, Miss Gowdy.
That's fine, Your Honor. But any of both cases that are on the calendar, Your Honor, he's entitled to a bond under OCGA 17750. He was working prior to his incarceration back in 2020. He unfortunately was sent to the Department of Corrections, Your Honor, due to a probation violation, Your Honor, but he had stable employment prior to that stint of incarceration, Judge. As it pertains to bond for the first case on the calendar, 21 CP 204695, the amount alleged in the warrant is 0.5 grams of cocaine. And as such, we'd ask for the court to consider a $1,500 good bond per offense. And for the second accusation on the calendar, Your Honor, per the warrant, the marijuana alleged is 1.9 grams. And for the methamphetamine was 0.1 grams. As such, for the marijuana, we're asking for a $1,000 bond. And for the methamphetamine, we're also asking for a $1,000 bond, Your Honor. Most of the criminal history that I see for Mr. Walker is nonviolent in nature. You see a host of prior drug offenses, Your Honor. I think this indicates that someone likely who needs treatment as opposed to someone who's a dealer, Your Honor. So we're hoping the court will keep that in mind and set bond as follows between both cases, Your Honor. Thank you.
What says the state?
One moment, Your Honor, I was just double checking something here. The state doesn't have objections to Ms. Gowdy's request for the amount of bond, Your Honor.
Ms. Gowdy, all right.
From what I'm seeing, there was no, the state did decline the capital offenses as was stated by Ms. Bostic and Ms. Gowdy. He is a convicted felon. He has a history, but given the allegations, the amount of drugs in question, and the amount of time that he's been in custody, he's entitled to a bond, and that amount is fine.
Ms. Gowdy, what address is he gonna live at?
It's the address listed on the booking screen. That's the 1234 address, Your Honor.
All right, I'm pulling it up. Is that Fulton County?
Yes, Your Honor, it's 1234 McPherson, Atlanta, Georgia, 30316.
All right, so position 6, you asked for what on? Did you say
For
1,000?
For the conspiracy, we asked for 1,500, possession of cocaine, 1,500. And for the second position, for the possession of marijuana, we asked for 1,000, the sale of methamphetamine, 1,000, Your Honor.
All right, so we'll go with those. Ms. Young, put the state consented to those amounts. 1,500 and 1,500 on position 6. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 333 Angier Avenue Northeast. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical work. You have to supply the name of your employer, a schedule, the location, and proof of employment to Ms. Gowdy and to the ankle monitoring company, sir. That'll be paid for by the Orford Project. And on position 7, 2,000 total, 1,000 each. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 600 Boulevard Northeast. You have that ankle monitor paid for by the county. Same thing, sir. 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment. You have to provide proof of employment, name of your employment, the location, and your schedule to Ms. Gowdy and to the ankle monitoring company every single time. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Your Honor, did the state consent to both bonds?
Was you?
Did the state consent to 7 or just 6?
Yes, ma'am. Both bonds.
Thank you.
All right, Terrell Holloway. Thank you, sir. This is position 22. 22 CP 208737. All right, hopefully it's on something else other than this case, 948 days without an indictment. And I think he does have another case. It's not just on this one. Yeah, he does have another case he's indicted on. This one, as of July 22nd, there's a $1,000 bond on obstruction of a law enforcement officer felony. And that was set on July the 12th. Pre-trial.
Holloway, 17 prior arrests, 20 SC 177297, armed robbery, 6 counts, aggravated assault, at least 4 counts, assigned to Judge Ingram on probation. Sentence in 2019, entering auto 3 counts, fleeing and eluding in Henry County. And Douglas, entering auto theft by taking financial transaction card fraud, sentence in 2018 for 5 years. Open case, DeKalb for armed robbery. 1 misdemeanor, 2 arrests for probation violation, 1 FTA, 2018. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cho. You're on mute, Mr. Cho.
Sorry, Judge, we're gonna ask for a UJR with a straight face in this case. Court's already noted the length of time he's been in custody. We have whittled this down to the bone. It is $1,000. The state is interested in pursuing this case. I think that a accusation is appropriate at this point. Judge, this is a May 3rd, 2022 incident. So as the court has noted, it is not from 907 days ago, but that's all I have to say at this point.
All right, you have an address where he'll be living?
Yes, one moment, please.
Is it the Wilson Road, I think, in Atlanta? Is it Wilson James Road, sir? I need a thumbs up or a thumbs down if that's where you're gonna be living. All right, there you go, I got it. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, he's in no bond status on the 20 SC 177297. I will note, not that it necessarily matters for the purposes of that trial is actually specially set for April before Judge Ingram. Not that that necessarily matters. He does have the DeKalb hold. It's $1,000 on the obstruction. All of that is to say, even if we UJR'd, he's not getting out. So I'm not going to oppose it.
Well, that's true. You're not getting out anyway, sir. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Deputy Cook unless it's in their official capacity. And we'll make this one, yeah, we'll just do this one, UJR. If there's a hold in DeKalb County to the hold. Once they come pick you up, they do, but you do have that other. Maybe you can get this accused and Judge Ingram can take care of them all. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. You're still not going anywhere. All right, Eddie Gates. All right. All right, let's see. There's Ms. Collins. 22 CP 211352. 169 days without indictment. Got aggravated assault. There is a no bond status as of August the 10th. Pre-trial.
That's all. It's Gates, Yates.
Eddie Gates.
Number is Eddie Gates. Or is he on?
6 on the add-on counter that add-on counter of 10 people.
Okay. Just a second.
Because it was reset because of the weather.
Right. Hold on. Eddie Gates, extensive arrest history. 39 prior arrests, at least 6 felony convictions. 5 arrests for probation violation. Prior simple assault, prior DUI, prior cocaine conviction, prior act assault. 1 FTA, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Collins.
Your Honor, Mr. Gates has been in custody for 169 days without indictment, so he is statutorily entitled to a bond. We're here today to request a bond of $5,000. Your Honor, Mr. Gates is 61 years old. He completed the 9th grade at Woodbury High School here in Georgia. He is on a fixed income. He receives SSI income due to underlying MH issues. He has 3 adult children. He's lived in Georgia his entire life. He's residing at the address that's on file, the Mims Street address. Your Honor, we understand that there is some criminal history there. I would note, though, that the last time he had a violent felony conviction was in 1996. And other than that, most of his history is drug offenses, and most of his felony convictions are drug offenses. Your Honor, we would request a $5,000 bond. That is the only bond that he can afford, given the amount of time that he's been in custody and has not been able to receive his disability income or to work or attain any income.
All right, what says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. As Your Honor noted, he is entitled to a bond given the fact that we're past the 90 days. Without going too much into the history, as I'm sure Your Honor can see the warrant, the allegations being that he cut and sliced at someone in both the neck and stomach with a box cutter. Obviously, the state is concerned that not only is he a danger to the victim, but he's also a danger to the community. Given his lengthy history, he's a very clear likelihood to reoffend. Even if not all of those convictions, felony convictions, are necessarily violent, they are the sort of things that can lead to violence, as evidenced by his history. The state would request a bond in the amount of $50,000.
Ms. Collins, where's he gonna live?
He's going to live at the address on file, Mim Street, the Mim Street address, Your Honor.
Is that Fulton County?
Yes, I believe so.
So are you gonna live in Fulton County? Thumbs up or thumbs down? All right, good job. Appreciate it. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 902 Donald Hollowell Parkway. No further contact with Angelo, Angelo Jefferson. Gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and employment. Name of your employer, location of your employment, where you're going to actually be working, a schedule, and proof of employment. You have to turn over to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer each time so they can supply it with the state. So we'll do a $30,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right, Benny Lee Henderson. All right. Mr. Lang.
I'm sorry, may I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Is that it for you?
Yes, have a great night, everyone.
All right, you too. All right, Mr. Lang. We got 22 CP 212234 Benny Lynn Henderson, 138 days without indictment, battery, family violence, subsequent conviction or prior forcible felony conviction. There is no bond from September the 10th. Pre-trial.
Just a second. He's from that other Henderson, 27 prior arrests, at least 4 felony convictions, 3 probation violations, open case 21 CP 198841 battery, family violence, and a 2019 battery, family violence. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Lang.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Henderson is 48 years old. He has lived in Georgia his entire life. He has 7 children whom he takes care of and is the primary financial provider. He made it to the 9th grade, has spent most of his life working in the landscaping and painting industries. Looking at, well, I understand the nature of his history, the fact that he's been in custody since September 10th of last year with no bond in this case. He is guaranteed a bond today. Based on the amount of time he's been in, and while I understand what the charge is now, it's my recollection that this started as a misdemeanor and was upgraded during first appearance per the Solicitor General's request. Based on all that information, I'm asking the court to set a $5,000 bond and give Mr. Henderson a chance to get out.
What address is he going to be living at?
He'll be living at the address on file with the clerk's office on his booking report, the Semmes, Semmes Street address in Atlanta, Georgia. It's in the Fulton County side. I looked it up earlier for you.
All right, and that's not the incident location.
That is not. Let me double check the warrant. No, that is not.
All right. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. Recognizing that the defendant is entitled to a bond, I will give the bond amount and then I'll explain why I'm asking for that amount. The state is requesting a bond in the amount of $100,000. The reason for that is, as Your Honor did hear about his history, but specifically his history related to this particular victim, without going too much into the facts. Essentially, he grabbed her by the neck, threw her to the ground because he was mad that she had company. They were actually no longer dating at the time. I do note that he has attempted to contact her 17 times in the month of December alone. He was actually successful getting a hold of her 8 times. He does have that February 2019 family violence battery action involved the same victim. There's also specifically with respect to domestic violence history, there is a September 2020 family violence battery, which is pending, that 21 CP involving the same victim. There's also the May 21 aggravated assault involving the same victim. I do know that although that case was dismissed at prelim due to non-appearance, that is still part of that history and part of our concern with respect to him contacting the victim. And so I do recognize that he's entitled to the bond, but given the fact that he's consistently been battering the same victim for well over 4 years now, the extensive history that he has, not only just with her, but generally with criminal justice system, the state would ask for that $100,000 bond.
Ms. Ferrer, have you been able to get in touch with the victim?
No, I have not. I attempted, but there was no number listed for the victim.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1200 Mobile Street Southwest. No, sir, put your hand down. No further contact with Lakenya, Lakenya Young. That means none, sir. You can't call her. You can't text her. Don't use somebody else's account number to call her. No contact means no contact from this day forward, sir. None. If you try to call her, that's a violation of your bond condition. You will sit there until you go to trial. If you get out, you're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical. I'll allow you to work, but don't you go around her. You have to provide proof of employment, name of your employer, location, and the exact schedule. You have to supply that to your lawyer and to the ankle monitoring company. And I do have that she was the victim in several other ones. So I'm going to do $75,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Your
All
Honor,
right.
that concludes my business with you. May I be excused?
Yes, sir.
Have a good night, Judge.
You too. Quentin Peoples. All right. Mr. Cho, we got position 3. 22 CP 209638, Quentin Peoples, 233 days on indictment, cruelty to children in third, battery family violence ×2. As of June the 7th, there is no bond. Pre-trial.
Peoples, 23 prior arrests.
I got it.
4 arrests for probation violation, currently on probation. Battery, family violence. 3 counts, cruelty in third. 2, simple battery family violence. 22 SC 184039, sentence 5 days ago. 3 years confinement, 2 years probation.
4 South, booth 3, shut the door. 4 South, booth 3, shut the door and pay attention. Go ahead, Bostic.
1 arrest for probation, parole violation, 2 FTAs, 2 arrests for misdemeanor, controlled substance, also on probation, 19 SC 170657, aggravated assault and obstruction, sentence in 2020, 2 years confinement, 8 years probation.
Go ahead, Mr. Cho.
Judge, this is a fairly easy one if we can get some cooperation possibly. If you look on the jail booking screen, you will see that the 19 SC case Officer Bostic just mentioned is on there, as well as the 22 SC 184039. Those are the only things actively holding Mr. Peoples. As far as 22 SC 184039, that was a Judge Cox case where Attorney Levy with our office handled a plea bargain for Mr. Peoples on January 19th, and he received a 5-serve-3. If you look at the direct indictment, which is from January 19th, 2023, Your Honor, you will see that the listed victims as well as the incident date are exactly the same. May 12th, 2022, May 12th, 2022, May 12th, 2022. That's for counts 1, 2, and 3. There are 4 counts in total in the actual indictment. And the listed victims are Quindarius Peoples, Quintasia Turner, and Tashuna Turner. The court looks at the jail commitment for the case before your honor, 22 CP 209-285. Actually, 22 CP 209-638, excuse me. You will see the exact same thing. So this case is not one that needs a bond. The easiest way I think to handle it would be to give a UJR, but the more appropriate thing to do, I believe, is to dismiss this because jeopardy has attached at this point. And I would ask the state to look into it. If it is ADA Burke, I know she will do an excellent job. And that would be my hope. But this case, as it is, Judge, is no longer a good case, honestly and truly. I think that the commitment shows that it's the same incident, the same people. I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Ms. Burke. You're on mute, Ms. Burke.
I'm sorry. It looks like a decline was submitted for the CP case because Mr. Peoples did plead to 22 SC 184039, as Mr. Cho had mentioned. And it's showing on our end that there was a decline for these specific charges. I'm not sure what happened in Odyssey, but it looks like they were filed down or the charging decision was changed so that could be reflected on the clerk side. But I didn't see a document stating that was a decline, but it's just showing that it wasn't presented to the grand jury. So I can look into that some more tomorrow to see how to make sure that all parties are able to see that.
It's not holding him, Your Honor, for whatever it's worth.
Right.
But
right,
it does need to be disposed of. Mr. Peoples is under sentence, and he has been in jail quite a long time. I appreciate A. Burke's hard work, of
So
course.
Ms. Burke, if there's these declined to prosecution, if they ones I need to sign, just send them to me, okay?
That's fine, Your Honor. This is news to me with some of what's been happening today. So all I can do is if there are questions, reach out to me and can help reach out to whoever was handling them, because I didn't handle these.
Okay.
Mr.
But that
Peoples,
was-
was that your question? I'm sorry, A. Burke.
No, that's it. The state rests.
Was that your question? If it's a question of something else, then Mr. Cho can talk to you. But if it's this, okay, if you shoot me that decline to prosecute, do you want to put this on for like Thursday, just in case, Mr. Cho? Should you have it figured out by then, Ms. Burke?
I'm looking at it signed as of today.
It's already signed. It
I
just had-
think it just needs to be filed. From what I was seeing, because from what I'm seeing, it looks like it just needed. It looked like a computer issue. It needed to be filed down in Odyssey to reflect what the DA side wants to do, so it can reflect on the clerk side, so that everyone can see it and not hold him. I'm not really sure there's anything that you need to do, Your Honor, other than I can just follow up during business hours to see if this was actually filed or it'll show up.
All right, you can follow up with Mr. Cho then.
Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Peoples, I will follow up with ADA Burke tomorrow after court. I have most of the calendar in the morning for a courtroom, but I'll follow up, and there's paperwork for it to be dismissed, okay? So that's what we're gonna do, okay? And it's not holding you right now, so we'll get that handled ASAP, okay?
You can lay the booth. Do we have Alero Buck?
Your Honor, may I be excused?
Yes, sir, Mr. Cho. Alero Buck. All right, what about Lamarcus Redding? Wave your hand if you're, thank you. All right, Ms. Gowdy, position 17, 22 CP 212989, Lamarcus Redding, 111 days without indictment. There's a $15,000 good
We
bond.
just wave sounding.
Those two charges that he's
Thank
very
you,
well
Judge.
aware of. Pre-trial.
6 prior arrests. Open case. 22 SC 183709, criminal attempt at a felony, bordering probably assigned to Judge Donaway, which is in judicial hold. Nothing further.
Right, Ms. Gowdy.
And yes, Your Honor, before the court is Mr. Redding. He is 28 years old, Your Honor. Lifelong resident of the state of Georgia. If released on bond, he does have a good address within Fulton County. The address in particular is 4701 Flat Shoals Road, apartment 57E is in Edward. That's in Union City, Georgia, zip code 30291. To my understanding, Mr. Redding has no prior felony convictions, even in spite of the 6 prior arrests that he has, Your Honor. No FTAs, no VOPs per my review of the GCIC, Your Honor. If there is any history on the NCIC, I didn't have a chance to review it, Your Honor, but per the GCIC, no felony convictions, Your Honor. He was receiving SSI due to underlying mental health, Your Honor, prior to his incarceration. I do believe that plays a part in the criminal history that is reflected in the GCIC, Your Honor. As a result, Your Honor, the bond currently is set at 15,000. We're asking for a bond to be set at 7,500, which are with whatever breakdown the court deems necessary, Judge.
Right. What says the state?
Your Honor, 88 Travis Thomas for the state. First of all, Your Honor, I have 2 cases for Mr. LaMarcus Redding. I also have him as number 3 on an add-on calendar. Are we going to handle that one also?
And Your Honor, that case has a UGR jail, so that's why I didn't address it. I don't want the UGR jail taken away from him. It's not also on the booking string either.
This, I think, was the only case it was on here, wasn't it?
Judge, you sent an email for that one to be removed for a reason.
Yeah, because it's a UJR jail.
Okay, no problem, Your Honor.
Okay.
But I will, so Your Honor, it's correct that there's no prior felony history, but Mr. Redding does have an FTA from 9/28/22 in case 22 SC 183709, which was a case mentioned by pretrial earlier that was in judicial hold. The reason it's in judicial hold is because there was an FTA on that date. Your Honor, that is also a case in which you granted this UJR that we've been talking about back in January 2nd of 2022. You granted the UJR, he FTA'd in September, and then a week after he FTA'd, he picked up this new case that we're here for today. For that reason, Your Honor, I'm asking that the bond not be adjusted. I think is reasonable, especially in light of the fact that he's clearly shown that he's a threat to commit more crimes. Your Honor, if you do deem it reasonable for him to be released, I would ask that he is released on an ankle monitor and that he stays away from the incident location, which is, give me 1 second, Your Honor. 3378 Greenbrier Parkway, which is here in Fulton County, Your Honor.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Christy, Christy Atkins, and Tatiana Atkins, Tatianna Atkins. Stay away from 3378 Greenbrier Parkway Southwest. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and work. You have to supply proof of employment, name of your employer, location you're going to be working at, a schedule. You have to turn that over to the ankle monitoring company and to the state, sir. Never look in any other windows and keep your pants on. 5,000 and 5,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. May I be
I
excused?
think that was, yes, sir. I think that was it for you, Miss Gowdy.
I did have one more, Mr. Johnson, but if the court looks in the docket, there was an order filed for DBHDD.
Yeah, I thought we handled Mr. Johnson.
It was Gregory Johnson.
It was removed, Your Honor, not competent.
Okay.
Yeah, that was removed. Sorry.
Thank
you,
you.
Ms. Gowdy. All right, so we still don't have Alero Buck. Nope, but we have.
Yeah, they're getting ready to pull him now, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Anthony Lumnick. Nope. Carl Sinkfeld. All right, Ms. Bray. It's a position 9, Bostic 21 CP 204313. 447 days without indictment, terroristic threats, family violence, 2 counts of aggravated assault. There's a $23,000 good bond as of July the 14th, 2022. Pre-trial.
Fields, 16 prior arrests, 3 arrests, probation violation, 3 misdemeanors. And those misdemeanors are simple assault, simple battery, and simple battery family violence. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sinkfield is now 50 years old. He's had a birthday since he's been in the jail since 2021. The address that I have for him is 3296 Clifton Farms Drive, Decatur, Georgia, 30034. He was raised here in the state of Georgia, Your Honor, and his past employment has been with Drexton Auto and Kentucky Fried Chicken. His case hasn't been indicted. We had the prelim way back in June of or was it July? Actually, it was July of last year that we had the prelim. At that time is when Judge Drake reduced his bond to the $23,000 that Your Honor mentioned. Of course, he's been in jail over a year, going on 2. So he does not have any money. I am asking the court to substantially reduce his bond so that we can, I don't know, probably try and go through the bail bond project.
What says the state?
Your Honor, Your Honor, having taken into account his history, which does include the prior felony violence battery, which is only relevant given that the alleged victim in this matter is his mother and other victims being also individuals who lived in the house.
His mother is now deceased, Your Honor. She died while he's been in custody. And this was brought out during the prelim.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Wiggins.
Yes, Your Honor. I was going to say that the state is not opposed to a reduction of bond. We only ask to be fair and reasonable. I would ask that we cut the bond in half to $11,500. However, I will leave it up to the court.
All right, sir, sorry for your loss. I don't know how you'll wrap your head around all that, but oh well. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 4333 Scott Circle in East Point. No further contact with Rachel Cooley, Cooley. And before, I think it was Miss Sinkfield, but obviously she has
she passed
passed away, so you don't have to put that on there. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment. As long as you supply name of your employer, place of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. Sir, you have to supply that every single week if that's how you get your schedule when you're going to leave. And you have to supply that to this your attorney and to the ankle monitoring company. You also go stay out of Fulton County unless you're for court or to see your lawyer. Fill up with gas indicator, come to Fulton County, and then leave. So I guess one of the ag assaults is going to be dismissed, right? She's deceased. What do you?
Well, we brought that up at the prelim, Your Honor, but because on the incident date, the other person witnessed part of it. So ADA Rolls told me that they were still going to go forward. I just don't know why they haven't indicted it. But we did bring that up during the prelim.
All right, 3,000, 5,000, and 5,000. Sir, don't reach out to them. Don't reach out to your sister. Don't do any of that if that's who Miss Cooley is. Best of luck to you, sir.
She's a cousin.
Cousin, you'll have an ankle monitor paid for by the county. You can leave the booth. All right. Anthony Lomanick. So we got people in here, Bucalero, and we got Quentin Shelton.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sinkfield was what? 11,000? Is that what did Your Honor say?
Yeah, I said, yeah,
3,
11,
5, and 5.
3, 5, and 5. Thank you.
Who's in booth 4 South? I don't even know who. He's just sitting there. I've already heard your case, sir. Have to figure out who that is. All right, so Mr. Shelton. All right, who's in booth 2 North? Have I heard your case? All right, I called the people I have left. Let's stand by. All right, position 10, Quentin Shelton, 21 CP 204-811. 423 days without indictment. There's $100,000 good bond on aggravated assault with intent to murder as of August the 22nd. Pre-trial. What you got, Bostic?
I'm there he is. Quentin Shelton, 9 prior arrests, open case 22 CP 212-871, ride in the penal institute terroristic threats, felony, 2015 arrest for aggravated assault, marijuana with the intent to distribute, 1 misdemeanor conviction, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Hankins. Ms. Hankins? You, Ms. Hankins? Ms. Hankins?
I'm texting her now.
All right. Probably one of those about the time she started to wander off. Let's see. Are you Mr. Gregory Johnson? What about Wayne Parks? All right. Sir, your case has been reset. Bond was addressed on the 18th. You could leave the booth. It was addressed on January the 18th at the prelim. I know because it was me. Best of luck to you, sir. You could leave the booth.
Excuse me, Your Honor, which position was that?
It's one that I said was removed from the calendar.
Oh, understood, thanks.
Parks.
Position 13 on the add-on, no, on the original calendar.
All right.
Thank
Wayne
you.
Parks, you're welcome.
Where this last?
Your Honor, can I get a ladies' room break for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll tell you when I come back.
You can go to the little clerk's room.
Your Honor, which one is it? What,
So we're looking for
position? Luminick?
Luminick and Alero Buck.
I think Lominick is in a wheelchair. Maybe that's part of the,
Okay.
maybe, I don't know.
And Your Honor, I know Leo Buck, he said he was on 3 South or 4 South, and there's someone else in that booth right now. So that's probably why he's not out yet.
All right, so Gregory Johnson was removed. Wayne Parks, one of them was removed, position 13. Jamarcus Greer was removed, and Lamarcus Redding was removed. So as soon as I get Miss Hawkins, Hankins, we can go.
Well, Your Honor, what do you mean we can go? Would we still hear Lara Buck's case tonight?
The only person in there right now is Mr. Shelton.
I understand, Your Honor, but I believe he's on the same floor as 4 South.
I mean, when they get in the booth, we can go, but we only got one in the booth, so that's the only reason that we're just sitting here waiting. And then Miss Young went to the little clerk's room.
Miss Young is back from the little clerk's room.
Okay. I think Miss Hankins may have went to the little litigator's room or fell asleep.
Excuse me, Judge Manning? Did you state that Greer, Jamarcus Greer, position 5 was removed?
All right, hold on, I gotta find my list again. I'm sorry, I just put it up. All right, removed from the calendar. Gregory Johnson, position 18, Wayne Parks, position 13, Jamarcus Greer, position 5, and Lamarcus Redding, position 3.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And I don't know which counters, because I know there's like 5, but
that's what I'm looking at through, but thank
Ms.
you.
Robinson. Ms. Robinson.
Hello?
Yeah, hang on for a minute. I'm trying to get him up there.
Yes,
so-
Lieutenant, I'll reach out to you on the phone. Give me just a second.
just stand by, Mr. Shelton. Trying to get your lawyer she's here, but she's not answering. And then Ms. Brave will take yours and Ms. Safrazi as soon as they get in the booth.
All righty.
Ms. Hankins?
Yes, Judge.
All right, we got your client in the booth. Do you want to turn your camera on?
We're ready, Judge.
Can you turn your camera on?
Yes.
All right. Position 10, Bostic, 21 CP 204-811, Quentin Shelton, 423 days without indictment, aggravated assault with intent to murder. There's $100,000 good bond as of August 22nd. Pre-trial.
9 prior arrest, 20 CP 212-871, right in a penal institution, terrorist threats, aggravated assault, conviction, marijuana with intent, 1 misdemeanor, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Hankins.
Judge, he's been, detained 423 days, has $100,000 bond. The state has not chosen to accuse him yet. So we would ask for a reasonable bond. He's happy to accept an ankle monitor, county funded. We ask that you just reduce this bond, please.
All right, do you have an address where he'll be living?
Yes, I do, Judge. Let me see if I can find it.
Or simply
Yes.
in Fulton County?
Yes, it is in Cumming, Georgia, with his sister Angelica Houston Howerton, 1455 Buford Highway, apartment 336, Cumming, Georgia, 30041.
All right, so that's not Fulton County. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The state believes that his current bond as set is fair and reasonable. I do recognize he's been in custody for over a year without indictment. However, it is not as though he does not have a bond. So it's not as though he's per se entitled to a reduction. I would point out that this bond is after 2 prior denials. He was granted this bond. Court's already heard his history without going too much unnecessarily into the facts, as that is not necessarily the purpose of this. I would point out that he both stabbed and sliced at the, or at least alleged chef stabbed and sliced at the victim in both the neck and face numerous times. The detective noted he's known to assault people on the MARTA and in the community. It also mentions that the defendant was heard telling the victim that the attack isn't over, and that so the state's concerned not only to the danger to the victim, the dangers to the community, but also the clear likelihood to reoffend. We would ask that the bond remain the same.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from all MARTA stations. Sir, you've already been banned from them. MARTA, just the simple fact that you got arrested there. Stay away from one Atlanta airport. I guess that's a road. No further contact with Randy Love, Love. You can have ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment. You have to provide the name of your employer, the place of employment, proof of that employment, your schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. You'll have to supply that to your lawyer and to the ankle monitoring company. No further contact with your co-defendant, Marshawn, Marshawn Cole, Cole. Also, so you go stay out of Fulton County. The only reason you come back to Fulton County is court and to see your lawyer. You fill up in gas and Cumming, you go straight to the courthouse, straight to your lawyer's office, and you go back. Don't stop for lunch. Don't get a flat tire. Don't run out of gas. Any reason you get caught in Fulton County other than seeing your lawyer or going to court, that's a violation of your bond condition. And make sure you confirm the address that you're going to be living. If you move, you have to make sure that you let the state know and you let the ankle monitoring company know. $80,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Thank you, Ms. Hankins.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, we're just waiting on Alero Buck and Anthony Lomnick.
Judge may be excused.
Sure. Have a good evening.
Judge, I just think one of them entered the booth on 4 South.
Yes, that's Mr. Buck.
This is Mr. Buck, Alero Buck. All right, we got 2 cases here. It's 3 and 4. All right, 22 CP 212002, 109 days without indictment. Pre-trial, y'all came off of their bond, right?
Sure.
Bostic.
Sure.
Okay. Alright. So there's a $2,500 bond on possession with intent to distribute within 1,000 feet of a school, but you got possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of MDMA with intent to distribute, possession of Schedule 4 controlled substance, possession with intent to distribute within 1,000 feet of the school, possession of drug-related objects, loitering and prowling, possession of marijuana less than an ounce. $2,500 split bond since 9/3. Now we've got 22 CP 213042. 109 days without indictment. There's a $5,000 good bond as of October the 10th for theft by receiving stolen property. Pre-trial.
These are his only 2 arrests. Yes, we did a bond surrender because he was rearrested in October on the new charges.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Safarati.
Thank you, Your Honor. Easterbrook has been in custody for 108 days now. He had a prelim scheduled on the 19th of this month, and then it was reset because the officer failed to appear. His prelim is now scheduled for February 3rd. Your Honor, I do know there's 2 cases before you. What happened with the second case, that by receiving case, he was actually arrested in his girlfriend's car. His girlfriend's father owns the car, and she was buying it from her father. And there was some dispute about payment, her making her payments on time. And so he reported the car stolen. And so they were actually both arrested, Your Honor. And she was able to bond out with no issues. But because he already had that open case, pre-trial has surrendered. And so he's been in custody this whole time waiting for a bond hearing to be reheard. So that is the facts behind the second case, Your Honor. He was simply passenger in his girlfriend's car. And from my understanding, so speaking with her, she's back in possession of the car and she's all good with her father. So a tough lesson, I guess, to learn, but that is the situation behind that case. And so, Your Honor, because these are his only 2 cases that he's ever had, and he is a young man, we are going to ask you to set a bond of $5,000 total for both cases. That would allow us to do the bail project. He does not have much funds. He does have a baby on the way, Your Honor. His girlfriend is she's about 8 months pregnant now. We do have a good address for him at 2104 Bentley Exine Drive, and that is in College Park, Georgia, 30349. Your Honor, my client, he is a high school graduate. He worked for DHL at the time, but he has been incarcerated for over 100 days now, so we would have to see the status of that job. His whole family is in Mississippi because he had moved to Georgia in July of 2020, July of last year. He moved to be with his child's mother, who he's been with for 5 years now. And so, Your Honor, we are going to ask you to set a $5,000 bond total for both cases today. Thank you.
What says the state, and what address is he going to live at?
It's a College Park address, Your Honor. I will file a change of address, so we have it in the system.
All right. What says the state?
Yes. Sorry, I was thinking. Given the history as well as the facts, state doesn't oppose that.
Let's see what I'll do.
Oh, wait, I apologize, Your Honor. I do have a question. And it may just show that I'm not 100% sure. The girlfriend in the 042 matter, that's not the same woman who was in the car with the other one, right?
It is the same girlfriend.
It's the same person? Okay.
And she's out, and for some reason their cases are not connected. She has a different case number than he does, but they were arrested at the same time. She was in the driver's seat. He was in. No, for the death by receipt in the car incident.
Yeah.
For that,
no, I got that. I was just.
Is that who he's planning on going to live with?
I mean, she's his only contact, Your Honor.
Kenyatta Adams.
Yes, and I've spoken with her. He can't come reside there.
Is she still charged with something?
I don't know the status of her case. She's a conflict case now. So I don't know the status of hers. When I had talked with her, she didn't really know the status of her case. I do know she's out and back in possession of the said stolen vehicle.
All right. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor, I was just trying to figure out, because from what I could tell, there was a woman in the car in the initial matter with the drugs, and I was just trying to figure out if Miss Safarazzi knew if it was the same woman. That's all.
I'm not sure who he was arrested with at the time for the drug incidences.
All right, let's see. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 5110 Old National Parkway in College Park. Gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and employment, as long as you supply proof of employment, name of your employment, a schedule, and the exact location you'll be working to your lawyer, and also to the ankle monitoring company. Because, sir, you had 104 grams of weed and 5 of MDMA. So I'm gonna make this a 3,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 200, 200, 200. And on the fourth case, I'll make that 1,000. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You have ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you provide name of your employment, the location you're going to be working, proof of employment, and a schedule. Give that to Ms. Safarazzi and to the ankle monitoring company. Stay away from 5068 Old National Highway in College Park. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Anthony Lominick.
You know, that concludes my business tonight. Can I be excused?
Absolutely. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
Judge, the booths are gonna automatically go off at 8, and I know it's 7:57. I don't know if you wanted me to wait until they go off and then invite them back.
Step it up, Brave. Ready? All right, position 8, 21 CP 204227, Anthony Lominick, 447 days without indictment. There's a $20,500 good bond, obstruction of law enforcement officer, aggravated assault. Pre-trial.
Which defendant?
Anthony Lominick.
Anthony who?
Lomnick.
The
ad on the calendar that has 10 places for the ones that were reset.
Position 8.
8.
We need to fire Bostic again.
Bostic, you fired again.
I'll take that pink slip. Lomnick, 15 prior. Excuse me, 15 prior arrests, 3 misdemeanors, 5 arrests for probation violation, open case, DeKalb, entering auto, criminal damage to property, has a hold for an FTA out of Decatur. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Braden.
Yes, Mr. Lomnick is 28 years old now. The address provided to me is 209 Griffith Street, Lawrenceville, Georgia, 30039. Griffith is Griffith. He's originally from Missouri, but the family moved here and they've been living here for the last 15 years. Prior to his arrest, he worked at Waffle House, and he has also done work with, also been a cook at McDonald's, and he is a high school graduate. Based on the amount of time he's been in, Your Honor, I am asking that his bond be reduced substantially.
Where's he gonna live?
209 Griffith Street, Lawrenceville, Georgia, 30039.
All right, what says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's position would be given the severe brain injuries to the victim from the alleged offense of basically smashing his head into a concrete pole. We do recognize, however, we do recognize the length of time without indictment. We would ask that you cut the bond in half to a $10,250 bond.
All right, put this because of the state. State went with that Ms. Young. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and work, as long as you supply the name of your employer, location, and a schedule that you're gonna be working. No further contact with Curtis. Can't read my last name. Does it say Small?
Smith.
Curtis Smith, keep reading my own writing. Stay away from 400 Edgewood Drive in Edgewood and Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. Also stay out of Fulton County, sir. The only reason you come to Fulton County is court or to see your lawyer. Fill up with gas when you go before you come down here, okay? Don't stop for Chick-fil-A, don't stop for Taco Bell, don't stop for anything. Go straight to see Miss Bray or straight to the courthouse. 10,000, go along with the state's recommendation. Ms. Young, note that 250 on the second charge. Curtis Smith, best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Oh, man.
Your Honor, may I be excused, please?
Absolutely. That was it, right, for everybody?
What happened to Wayne Parks? He made bond, right?
On one, removed on the other, is what I saw.